Welcome back, everyone, to NJCAAE, powered by Esports U once again. And apparently, must have had some sort of skinwalker take control of me at some point, or try to steal my identity because I was not here last week, despite what Binks might have told all of you. But yes, it is me, fellow. I am back here with Foxy, up to do some more R6 shenanigans here on every Tuesday night. So, Foxy, how is my replacement doing last week? I know you told me a little bit, but might as well go bring back up Binks since he cannot be here to speak for himself.
Well, we had a lot of fun. I just got COVID at that point. I didn't realize, so my
Yeah.
voice was doing things. I'm doing much better now. Still not 100%, but it is what it is. But yeah, for anyone that wasn't here, we kept up a bit for literally the entire stream about how he was fellow, and so I guess it was just so that the audience didn't miss you too much. But how have you been? You've been away for a week.
I have been away. I've been fine though. I'm glad to be back, get to do some more R6 casting, so that's always
Mm-hmm.
nice. And I think in terms of operator selection here, or not operator selection, sorry, but map bans, it's still pretty like basic stuff. We've got Oregon, Clubhouse, and Villa. That's like as default as you can get in all honesty. So I'm
Absolutely.
hoping the gameplay is just as normal as the operator, or pardon the map bans once again. I can't believe I mixed it up twice now.
That's a thing that I keep doing. Maybe you've taken after me, because that is a mistake that I keep making every single time I cast. But we should probably address the elephant in the room. The new season did drop today, so we should probably just
Hmm.
go over what is allowed, what isn't. And so until the end of the season, as far as I know, the old map rotation, the 7 map pool is staying the same. We aren't adding in skyscraper or theme park or what is the third one, border. Coastline stays in, right?
Hmm.
It is like it used to be. Goyo is banned because he just got reworked, and it's a massive rework.
Yeah.
Attacker repick, which has also been introduced, is banned, at least until further notice. We want to see how it actually ends up working out, and then if it ends up well, if it doesn't end up being overpowered or something, well, maybe we'll allow it. It's not really up to us. New operator, technically banned at least for 2 weeks, but last season Thorn was banned. We've seen a lot of teams play them. No one protested it. So maybe we see some Azami today. I don't know. I haven't really seen her reaction yet. What do you think about it?
I think she's a really good way to maybe bottleneck certain choke points. So she's not great, but she's also not horrible. Just very situational. But I think we're ready to get the matchup actually underway here, heading into map number one. We can actually go take a look at operator bans, and oh my gosh, I said it in the correct form this time around. So that's nice. And what else is nice? The actual new UI and animations for the operator bans. It looks pretty darn sick.
True. I know a lot of people productions or streamers were talking about the UI being shifted around again, because it does create a little bit of a nuisance. If you have a custom graphic made for it, you always need to kind of adjust it, because they keep changing the UI. But it is what it is. It looks sick, so I'm all for it. On to the operator bench though. First one up is going to be Thatcher. I believe this would be Oregon. Yes, it will be.
Mm-hmm.
Second one though, Montagne. Not something we've seen in quite a while. There was a phase about 2-3 years ago now where Montagne was banned a lot because he was considered very annoying and he was brought a lot. But that's long gone. So the prospect of Monty being banned, pretty interesting.
Yeah, the mountain is no longer here, and neither is Thunderbird. A unique
Okay.
ban, but one that kind of makes sense. She's very good in order to, keep the roam game alive much longer. You can utilize those Kona stations very proactively, which can keep people up. They can live to fight another time and potentially find more than what they probably bargained for. So a bit of a comfort slash
Yeah.
target ban, but not a bad one, I suppose. And the final one, being Valkyrie, which is relatively normal. The only thing to note is that Mira is now available, which she is pretty darn strong on a good chunk of these sites for Oregon. And also, we have a Maverick and Kaid, so having that weird power struggle between both Garden City and Hocking could be pretty interesting, especially if one team forgets either that Maverick or Kaid. That could make the opposing team's lives very challenging in terms of hard destruction.
Well, we'll definitely see when we get to it. First one up is going to be Kid Storms and Storms Main Hall. So, that's something you usually see on Oregon. Nothing really special coming out here on round number one. In terms of operators, we do have Cap Ken on the board, which I'm usually not the biggest fan of, but we have seen teams innovate with him at least a little bit. He's been reworked about 2 seasons ago now, and he can now stack those EEDs on doors. He can even get a kill. of just one doorway, so you got to be extra careful. And maybe in a competitive match round 1, you don't necessarily expect the Kepkin unless you've drawn them out early on. So maybe it can be a good little cheese tactic to chunk off HP, or maybe even get a kill early on.
It's really weird to see like Thermite and Zophia's like characters inverted. Like that's not how they look at you. It's so weird. Actually,
Oh, that's true. They do mirror them. What?
yeah,
Wow.
this is
different.
odd. Either it just looks weird because of how small it is, or it actually is inverted. Yeah, I can't quite tell, but it just doesn't look right. But anyways, it's also very weird to not have a Maverick or not have really any grenades. You can still have the Zofia, maybe try to play for vertical to get rid of those Kaid claws, but that's very challenging because it's only those Kaid claws. So I'm really not too sure how easy it is going to be for Garden City to actually get this hard destruction done, especially in both Closet and Attic. They want to go for that like default pincer attack. So far though, we've got Chronic already using one of their explosive lifelines to actually get inside of Garage. No droning done just yet. But, yeah, this is not the worst. He has a cutoff angle established inside of Split, so could be a much more difficult situation for Garden City, I suppose, if they didn't have this angle.
Yeah, Zofia so far doesn't really have any teammates close to her to help her out, but she's been completely uncontested. She, went for the vertical breach to get rid of any, bended batteries, K charges, whatever may be on the wall. And so far, no one's contested her, but that's only up until now. Jaeger will find her as the entry pick of the series. Jackal with the Inox scanner, Wolfgang Castle reveal his position. The rest of the teammates, Ace, they're on the roof trying to get a pick through the kid's window, but nothing connects as of yet. Thermite, though, takes a massive chunk of HP, or has it taken off, rather. Now he'll have to be careful. He swings again, taken off by Capcan. So great entry here for Hocking, and it's only half the round gone.
Well, losing out on one of your main heart breachers, that's not very helpful, especially since J Supreme is really not in a good spot to do his job. So this is going to be a very linear take by Garden City, most likely. About a minute 20, there's still plenty of time to gather that intel, maybe find some sort of refrag. But besides that, they haven't gathered a lot of map control, cases dropped inside of Deer that will need to get recovered, and they really are... They're kind of in a difficult position because that huge deficit and the fact that, once again, they have basically no map control. Jay has to rotate once again, and both Buddy and Dark One have now been dealt to less than 50% of their health. This is just overall not a good position to be in for Garden City in the slightest.
Absolutely. By the way, sorry to break this flow. I just have a question for you. You know, 6-pick stayed in the game because we have seen it in chat. Momo has been asking for a pause and the fact there's no 6-pick, but did Operator Repick completely replace the 6-pick, or is that still a thing? I'm not sure.
It completely removed it.
Oh, okay. So players just like me just didn't know that. That's whatever complain about it. Anyways, kills are just coming in. Subkid gets one more, and it's all up to Body. Clutch just went out. We'll find one in a trade, but that's pretty much it. A damn near flawless one for Hocking on round 1. That looked very convincing. We are asking for a pause, which I think we will do, but someone needs to tell them that 6th pick is not in the game anymore. It's attacker reach pick now, and like we said, early on in the caster face cams, they are not allowed anymore. So, okay, well,
here we are.
We're on pause, and there you go. You see our faces again. Hello. Take a good look at fellow. He's a handsome fellow.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news to you, Boxy, but although we have just started the night, I have already completed my Wordle for today. So you got to pick up the slack, man.
Okay. I'm gonna do it right as we got off.
Gonna go at you right now. It's a pretty interesting word. You might actually have a different word than me though, because I know we always end up doing.
I do.
Like, really weird times.
I'm 12 minutes. I'm 12 minutes into Wednesday, so I do have a different word than you. I've done yesterday's already, and I know what it was. Well, it's still today's for you, but
well, not
usually it's the Max. Yeah, it's usually Max, the first one that does it, and today he's actually not here, so we're just doing the Wordle mid-broadcast in his memory. It's a little thing we do every now and then just to have a little bit of fun, but we do have cool scoots happening today instead of Max, so thank you so much for that. As usual, it's K-Tad on the producer's desk, and well, we have some time. How you been, fellow? How's been life?
I've been
What have you been
better.
up to?
I've been getting better, I guess. I shouldn't say I have been better. No, I am getting better.
Always better.
Hopefully I get some more information today on my future projects that I'm doing this week. Haven't gotten that
Okay.
yet, although I was said I was supposed to receive an email, but fingers crossed, maybe it'll be a late one today. Maybe when I'm done casting here with NJCAA, I'll get that email, but if not, there's gonna be some very harsh remarks to the person who promised me that. But
Okay.
yeah, other than that, I've been all right. That first round was a bit of a doozy as well for the
Hmm.
BO3, but it's just the first round. I think just the general positioning there for the offense just wasn't up to snuff. Maybe it's just like that. It's their warm up round, so maybe we'll see that improve when we get back into the matchup.
Okay, well, we're going back into the game, and quickly, we were talking about future projects. Is one of those a fellow themed calendar? Because I would pay for that. I would pay for 12 pictures of you on a calendar, and I'll have that up on my wall behind me on every broadcast. Is that something we can arrange?
Well, I think Zig already has like 6 different photos of me, so you should probably see if him and I
True.
can collab, and that would be already like half the battle there. So.
That'd be amazing. Okay, well, we're on basement now. Again, it's Hocking defending. They went damn near flawless last round. They only lost one body in the trade in the last few seconds, but that was it. And let's see if they can keep their stellar momentum up. They've started off very strong. And like I said, Kate is on the board, I think, off of what we've seen in round 1. This is going to be a major nuisance for the attackers, because usually you need at least a little bit of coordination to, get rid of those skates with whatever way you choose to deal with them. And that is something that I feel like Garden City have lacked the most, with just coordination and playing together. It felt like everyone was just kind of doing their own thing. And I do want to see how they deal with the Cade in the future rounds as well.
Really questionable to have the buck on the board because you can't do any vertical when you're attacking the basement floor, and I mean the stuns are okay to clear through util, but you have nothing to really enforce the fact you need to clear through util. You have no grenades. The only thing you have are those explosive lifelines. If you got those thermic charges, so at least you can get the E-box wall open. But besides that, nothing much done yet for Garden City. Maybe though someone's going to actually peek out Momo and he'll be able to find some sort of opening frag, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. But they'll reposition and maybe could get lucky for a second attempt.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't like the initial play of just sprinting in and getting the my charge down. Yes, you did smoke it off, but smokes, they're not solid. They can still be shot through, and bullets do so much damage in this game. It's a one-shot headshot game as well, meaning that your opponent can get lucky and they can shoot you through that smoke without any contention. There was no really help Momo out. The bridge got open though, a few shots came through, and it's just a push from all sides really. We've seen the Zofia and Freezer, we've seen Jekyll on main stairs, Bug Big Tower, and Thermite, he pushed in through Garage. And I said this often, Phil, I'm a fan of these extended, spread out pushes, but as soon as you start dropping bodies, you have large blind spots on the map, and that is exactly what happens. Royal picks up one, Sully with a second one, and now the attacking force has very little control gathered, and they're just spread out. There's no refrag potential for them. They haven't really cleared anything. They haven't used their utility much, and they already are 2 people down. So not a good first 2 minutes.
And they don't know that T-Bone is actually the freest pick right now because there's no rotation hole. Thankfully, Royal will fall near pillar, so there could be a simple equalizer here if they end up killing the cap can.
Okay.
That finally happened. So Garden City, they have brought things back a tad bit, but no, there's nothing for the flank watch. No drone for the dead teammate, so Sully will catch one off guard. There goes the dark one, and now the man advantage is back in the favor of Hocking. With Case down as well across the map, so Garden City, they are going to need just to walk in and hope they win their gunfights, which Hocking, I'm sure they don't want to have that happen. They're playing for some sort of refrag/trade system, so even if somebody dies, it's not going to be very long for Garden City until they have to deal with, once again, a disadvantageous position. But no, the unknown actually will fall to Momo, and there is no sign of defender life just yet. Looks like they're just holding down the fort and trying to burn out the timer here in these last 15 seconds.
15 seconds
Yeah,
to
keep
go.
in mind though, both of them are low, and Catkin traps are still on the table, so they could very easily fall. Now Body finds one though, so it is all up to the Jaeger to clutch. He finds a triple and then a quad on the round. And it's the second one for Hocking, although much, much closer than round 1 was. So, well, I guess either the, different bomb site or the short pause that we had really helped Garden City there, because they actually showed some signs of lives. Yes, they did lose a lot of bodies early on, but at the same time, they always managed to equalize it somehow in some way. So, good on them.
Wow. Tyler managed to get the Wordle done in 2 out of 6. That's pretty darn impressive. Almost won. He had almost all the letters correct, actually. It's not in the right order. So that's pretty interesting. Anyone in Twitch chat, they should definitely go give the Wordle a try and let us know how well they do. And we will go back and look at them later on. I could guarantee that. I'm hoping that Garden City can guarantee a round though, because they have once again looked very discombobulated. They have the right idea. It's just how they implement it normally doesn't work. Another thing as well, their overall lack of droning throughout the round, it seems very lackluster. They just face check a lot of angles, which, you know, doesn't sound bad on paper because normally the ARs do way more damage in comparison to the defender SMGs, but with everything being one-shot headshots and the defenders normally set themselves up in a way where they're going to have a higher chance of winning that gunfight, you shouldn't be doing that unless you have something like a flash grenade, maybe a grenade itself, or just that intel knowing you're about to get in a gunfight and you need to go for a pre-fire. But we haven't really seen any of that by Garden City, and I'm hoping that they end up potentially changing that, or at least playing for a better buddy system that we've seen this past few games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am interested to see what happens in kitchen dining. It is one of those sites that are a little bit harder to defend. They're, you know, not in meta and ranked, and so most new and lower tier comp teams have a little bit of a harder time actually doing it, or defending it rather. So it really just comes down to how in sync your team is, how much practice it puts into actually holding down sites like these. And we'll see where it goes, but I'm not too optimistic for Hocking. I think this is the first round that they lose, at least if Garden City play like they did last round, despite their flaws.
Well, it looks like we have that drone game actually improving. They want to know where exactly Sully is playing, if he has any teammates here to back him up, potentially near White Stairs. And if that is not the case, they could easily flush this Wamai out because he has no way of rotating outside of kids. Up until now, though, he actually just jumped the gun because he knows how vulnerable he can be in that position now. If he maybe finds a pick, he could potentially fall back into Deer Room, perhaps, and still kind of have a bigger impact throughout the rest of this round. That first initial shot is not going to connect. Throws a magnet just wide out in the open, but thankfully no one's pushing through Deer, so that's not going to be too big of a concern. What might be a concern is the smoke grenade that could maybe allow for some sort of push to happen in through kitchen, but off screen we see that Buddy has now fallen or managed to get that pick on towards Slime, so that roam game on the top floor is now no longer present.
Yeah, Sully has been, you know, the biggest, by far the biggest fragger for his team. Look at that, 6 frags compared to 2, 1, 1, and 0. So having him, or not having him rather, is really going to hurt Hocking's defense. You seem like the attackers have a lot of control, but once again, they're super spread out. Buddy will get down and then equalized by the LX team there after. Mira also on the swing, doesn't quite connect the shots. IQ has been down, still not taken off, though. Just 1 minute left on the clock. The beepers are going crazy. The Legion mine as well. Ella just holding inside, but it's Mira straight from the other bomb site, kills one onto the hallway. She doesn't know the case is there as well, but all the defenders are just holding the site down. They don't even need to push out. Now Body will pick up by the Twitch right before bleeding out, or maybe not. There we go. Goes for the bait. Twitch misses some crucial shots, and now she's in a very bad position. She can either go for the kill or the pickup, but probably neither of them will be very successful, if I'm being honest.
Well, 30 seconds left, and yeah, Momo just hoping that someone gets over aggressive. That's not really going to happen. J Supreme catches 1, so at least things are evened up. We can maybe see a plant by Momo, and that will eventually happen, but J Supreme on such little HP will now get caught in a bad position because they're on the reload. Momo now has to spring back up off the plant and hope that someone, once again, tries to get over aggressive. We've got a rotate happening by Sup, so even if the unknown dies, this could still be won by Sup Kid. He spots out the player down, and no, why are you looking at him? You saw Momo run in the kitchen. Why would you try to finish off that pick? Great information gathered by the down teammate of the ace, and Momo still somehow brings that one back.
There were just a few seconds left, and both the Kate and the Mirror, the last defenders alive, they were both holding out their secondaries, and both of them suck for gunfights. One was the pistol, the scope pistol on Cade. I forgot what it's called. You can probably correct me because I know you know it.
44 Magnum.
It's super hard to shoot people with that. I'm gonna be honest with you. No one brings that. Why would you bring that? And then the second one was, you know, the short shotgun and mirror that also is good for destruction, but doesn't kill anyone. Even if you put it in their face and press the trigger, there's a chance that they'll live. That's how bad it is. And they both had their secondaries out. I understand and I respect the fact that sometimes you just switch your secondary because you ran out of bullets in your primary, but probably not if you're playing Cade and or especially Mirror. Feels like mirrored it. So huge throw on the side of Hocking. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I did call it. I did say I think Hocking here lets kind of up and Garden City get their first round. That's exactly what happened. So for once I didn't curse someone. I'm proud of myself.
Well, inadvertently cursed Hawking. Maybe if you hadn't said that, then Mira wouldn't have tried to go for the finisher.
Maybe.
Instead of just waited for Twitch to clear out kitchen and go for a plant. Maybe.
My bad, pimp.
But we'll never know, I suppose. In terms of rounds, pretty default, winning kids and laundry on your defender side and then losing meeting room / dining. So pretty typical stuff. Just how we got to this end road is normally not the normal way you would see that path crossed. But, at least still getting around in the books here for Garden City is better than nothing, especially on their attack. Momo actually AFK. Maybe he's taking a phone call. Maybe he's getting ready to start droning somebody and doesn't want to move. We'll never
Googling
know.
how to turn on 6.
Maybe he's solving the Wordle. Maybe he heard me in Twitch chat, and now that the 3-minute delay has kicked in, maybe he's like, oh yeah, I'll go do the Wordle right now.
Momo's Googling how to turn on 6-pick.
Maybe they think it's like an option that they've got to do now. Fun fact, it is not. It is completely removed. For now. Maybe we'll get added back during mid-season reinforcements, depending on player feedback. But for now, it is no longer.
Yeah, I don't see many people wanting 6-pick back. I feel like most teams used it, once, maybe twice a match the most, and even then it wasn't super influential. So we'll see what happens. Legion, though, with the opener, it's going to be on to Momo, our AFK person. I guess they just now have more time to Google what's happening to 6-pick. Because, let's be honest, we haven't seen Garden City on many drones and even less for flying quads, established. So, I'm not watching drones. I guess they can do the world, Google whatever they want. We'll see. Anyways, Garden City down 1 player, but not for long, though. It's going to be the Maverick to equalize this out. And it's going to be Sully dying first on his side, at least, for the 2nd round in a row. Last time when this happened, Hocking lost the round pretty, I wouldn't say convincingly, but definitely dealt with some room to spare from Garden City. So, we'll see what happens here. Thermite goes for the wide swing, loses most of his HP, doesn't dish out any damage in return, and there's Gumine slant at his face, so he decides to retreat. But at least Aki is there to, help him out, should he need to.
I really don't know why, out of all the players you want clearing the roam game and getting aggressive, it's both your Thermite and Maverick. Neither one of these players have done any hard destruction. Chronic still has all of his fuel left in the torch, and I would say Thermite has both of his exothermics, but they're now dead via Capcan Trap, so that's not technically true. We've got the Ace, so thankfully we could maybe see Closet opened up if that Kaid Claw gets destroyed by either the Maverick spotting it or a simple grenade being tossed, but nope, it'll have to be utilized to actually that castle barricade, so it'll most likely be a funnel leading into Deer, and if Hocking are able to realize that, they could very much perfectly counteract this. Thankfully it was a 1-for-1 trade, that Maverick still being down, so it is a man advantage slightly favoring Hocking, and they only need to hold down the fort for about 10 more seconds. The attackers have to push through them. Buddy will win a very important fight, but there's no time left. He can't even pull out the goo mine. He has to get aggressive, and this could potentially kill him outright. He gets finished off by Royal. It's only J Supreme left to stand, and he can't even sprint through the rotate hole leading into Kids, because there's a goo mine caught in his foot as well, and we see the defense of Hocking once again win on this top floor defense.
I mean, again, it was much closer than the last time we've seen this bomb side. If you remember, last time it was a flawless, or almost a flawless. They did lose, one in the trade at the end, but that was it. Other than that, Hocking looked very strong round 1, and then even round 2-ish. Round 3 they lost, and then round 4 they won by the skin of their teeth. It was really the Legion, or rather his Minds, coming in clutch in those last few seconds. But they kind of aren't going as strong as they were in their first few rounds, so I do want to see where this goes. Again, I forgot to ask you for predictions at the beginning of the game. We've already seen 4 rounds. Do you think we go to 3 maps today?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I don't think so. I would be very shocked if we do, because what Garden City are opting to go for is just kind of walking around and hoping that they win their gunfights. I haven't seen a lot of proper utility usage by them, and especially in R6, your gun skill does not matter as much in this game in comparison to a game like Valorant, for example. You need to be much more reliant on your role as either that hard support or that entry, for example, and you need to stick to your gun on that rather than having everyone just kind of run around and try to pretend to be a fragger. That's not a good alibi to run with. So if Garden City don't change that moving into map number 2, or even the rest of this map altogether, I could imagine Hocking will most likely take this, because they're taking their comfort picks and they're playing the roles that they have given themselves, and it's working.
Okay, well, that's a fair enough assessment, I guess. We'll see what ends up happening. Garden City again entering the building. Momo just kind of leaning left and right. It's almost like watching my ranked teammates when I die early on. Let's see what happens though. The execution round comes down, will destroy the castle breaker, but there's another one right behind it. Meanwhile, Maverick loses a lot of HP, but in the end ends up finding Sully, who just hasn't been having rounds. Again, this is the 3rd time in a row they've died first, at least on their team. And every single time when that happened, Hocking ended up losing, or at least it came down to only one. They won last one, I guess, so there is that. It's running in, though. That is more than we've seen so far from Garden City, and it will end up using its taser to do a little bit of damage.
I'm out! Deploying shock drone.
Well,
Torch is ready.
things are looking much better for Garden City, at least, because they've got at least the opening man advantage by 2 now. Chronic very low in HP. I believe he got electrified just a tad bit. The Unknown is trying to get a tad bit aggressive, trying to shut anybody down that tries to enter through the backside. I believe a Nitro cell off cam has managed to injure out the Dark One, but Buddy is still popping off here on the IQ pick of the dog, and he'll manage to almost find another, but no. It's actually J Supreme to get aggressive, leaving only Sup Kid left, and he's in the 1 versus 4 with everyone very low on HP. So honestly, both these Capcan traps and the OG45 could be enough to get the job done. That's now a 2nd here on the round. And now we have the plant being attempted by J Supreme. The Dark One is attempting to cover, so maybe this could allow for the full post-plant position to be in the pocket of Garden City, but with everyone being on such little HP, this is really any player's game. That's a 3rd for Sup Kid. Just needs to find one more, and he'll actually clutch out this round for his team, as it's only J Supreme left to stand. They're sitting in the back of the map just trying to bite their time, which is great, of course, here, as that diffuser is always going to favor the offense. But Sup Kid, at any given moment, could swing around a corner, try to take down that ace, and this could be a 4K clutch to the lone castle, but time is still going down. He's not going to win that fight. J Supreme just watching through the single wall, gets the final pick of the round, but that was a much closer situation than what it probably wanted to be there for the offense.
Well, I mean, you had one attacker die to the Captain trap, and I know it was a 4v1. I know you kind of get cocky, don't, clear your doors maybe, but you really should, because, well, even from your ranked games, that is, when you're confident, when you have a huge advantage, that's when you throw most of the time. It's because you have this huge advantage and you're like, hey, it doesn't matter if I die, my teammates will clutch it up. But not always. We saw Sup Kid be so very close to that 1v4, like you said. And it was with the worst gun in the game, as people like to frame it. So there's also that.
Yeah, the UMP-45 is not a very good gun, so being able to almost find a 4K with it is pretty nice, to be honest. I must have still been a nice mental boot there for Sup Kid, especially since that was almost a comeback situation from a 5 versus 3 all the way down to a 1v1. And I think because of how close things were despite that deficit, we're going to have Hocking re-attempt to go to this bottom site with a very different lineup. They've got a Rook and a Smoke on the board. I mean, Sup Kid can just hold down these really long angles with a 2.0, which might not be a horrible idea, especially because of how aggressive Garden City have been, and everyone gets slightly more HP with that Rook armor. It is a very unorthodox pick, and I feel like there are better options, but, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose.
Absolutely. We'll see. I really want to see something come out of Sully, because like I said, they've been so very impactful in rounds 1 through 3, and then 4 through 6 they just haven't done anything. They've been the entry death most of the time. They have switched from a roamer onto the Smoke this time around, so they will be forced, or at least I hope they will be forced by their teammates to play closer to the site. That is what would make the most sense. Momo, though, sprinting down the laundry stairs once again. No castles to spot them this time. A little bit of leaning coming out, but an Alamine coming in clutch. Just a bit of their HP chipped off. Again, nobody's there to cover them up. A second Alamine coming out, and Momo loses even more HP, but at least this time they dish out some to Rook, well, who has now relayed the fact that people are pushing there. Nobody will be the one to pick up. Still on to Rook first up. Rook pushes up once again to try and cover, but the 1x scope on Rook is very surprising to me. J Supreme with another kill. Suddenly, 3v5. Garden City may actually equalize the score around. What do you think?
Well, potentially. I mean, we still have, this is a pretty decent situation here for Garden City. They're rotating into blue bunker, and apparently T-Bone could not hear Chronic as he was just way too swift for him, apparently. Momo gets picked up in the middle of Laundry Stairs. Now we're back to a 5vx situation with Supkid and Sully. Pretty much just the two anchors of this round, holding down the fort and hoping that someone gets a bit over-aggressive here. Supkid now on very low HP from, I believe, a grenade, and they'll have to really value their life in these next couple of moments. Sully may get one, but it's still a very tricky situation to come back from. Here comes the wide swing out by the Rook, but Jay Supreme is at the ready, forcing Sully to have to ace in this position with the SMG-11.
No!
A really tall task to climb up from. They find yet another, but so low on HP, position well known. Yep, it's only a matter of time before he gets traded by Jay Supreme. And it's going to actually be another round win in a row for Garden City.
First of all, there we go. We tied it up. I did say that I think that Garden City, you know, they just need a little bit of time and they can clutch it up. That is exactly what they've been doing so far. But the thing that I want to talk about is that I knew that now you can put any 1x scope in the game onto any gun. But when I saw the SMG-11, the Russian reflex scope, I still kind of lost it for a second there. I was taken aback. That's so funny. I don't know why.
Good too, because how
It
zoomed
was so
in it is
funny.
with 1.0. It's actually
I like it.
hilarious. Yeah,
It's a
I
good
actually
scope.
don't hate it.
We gotta experiment with those. Yeah, we'll see though. We have flipped the sides.
Attackers
You know,
need to
the defenders are
locate and
attacking
defuse as many
and
bombs as
vice
they
versa.
can.
So it's gonna be Hocking trying to get a few more rounds on the board. They started off strong. They have kind of light up since. Maybe just maybe they can bring it back. They can restore their former advantage and take map one. But even if not, Garden City have been putting a good fight up, at least in the last 3-4 rounds. So I am curious to see where this takes us. I do think overtime is definitely a possibility here. And, well, only time will tell if we actually do end up seeing it, I guess.
Oh god, why is Smoke looking at me like that? I didn't even notice that when Sully was picking him. I think it's the wrong way for him as well. I mean, I'm just not used to seeing Smoke with his whole like shotgun out as well, possibly.
Attackers are
I'm
heading
not
I
too
think-
sure. I think I'm going
I think
mentally
they've just
insane.
mirrored all of the right side operators, right? Like, Maestro
I-
usually rooking to the right as well. Question mark? Please tell me I'm not crazy.
The only one that looks correct is like maybe Maestro, but I don't even know how I feel about that one. So that's
no.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just so weird to look at that, man. Anyways, I think for Garden City, their defensive rounds are going to look much more stable because of how they like to play. They just like to run around and shoot people, so if they have a bunch of like main roamers / aggressive players, then that's going to suit well for them. For Hocking as well, they are a tad more methodical, and they like to take things with ample time. So maybe if their hard destructor does a good job of opening up those main walls and gathering those sight lines to push in towards site, this could actually be still a very back and forth altercation between the two teams. I'm just not too sure because I feel like we didn't get a lot of proper information out of that first half, in all honesty.
Well, I feel like this entire game has kind of just been coming down to gunfights, very little information coming out on both sides. And yes, for defense, you know, Valkyrie's banned, so there is that, but there are still other ways of having information. For example, the Maestro that has now been brought for the first time. But I don't know, I feel like I said, last have Hocking on defense, they weren't really utilizing intel operators, and Garden City on attack, don't get me started on their droning because it was practically non-existent. But the prevalence of Catcan is another very interesting thing for me personally. We've seen it quite a lot so far, and I do want to see if that continues to be a trend. I do think he can be good maybe once, twice as a cheese pig, but definitely not every single round. You can bring better operators, and you probably should bring better operators. It's Momo getting the entry onto T-Bone, though, so at least that's a strong start for Garden City here to take the lead for the first time ever in this series.
Well, T-Bone's going to fall. Thankfully, there are other frag grenades you can have here on the round. Buddy will get downed, and there goes one of those mini nades tossed around. And Sully actually downs Jay Supreme as well. There goes Royal with the finisher on a Momo. Everyone is just dropping like flies at this point for Garden City, as Hocking have a relatively decent advantage until somebody could get revived. I believe the Dark One, it would be a tad bit risky to try to recover Buddy, and he'll eventually get through that rotate hole. You could maybe reinforce it, then get the revival off, but you don't have a lot of time. You need to act fast, and that will eventually happen, but nobody reinforced either of the two walls leading into kids. It's a wall bang to finish off one, and it is just a flurry of blue for Hocking. They take their first round on the offense, and I mean, perfect positioning in general, and just having a good pincer attack. That was just very simple for Hocking. Well done.
Off topic a little bit, but is your audio bugged as well? I've been
Yeah,
hearing
no,
stuff
it's just,
like pings and like
yeah,
mid. Yeah, but we haven't actually heard any shots. Okay, I'm not going crazy, so I guess there's that. Good news.
I should have disagreed and just been like, yeah, no, you're going insane, Boxy. You need to
Gaslighting me fully. Yeah, makes sense. Well,
Soon TM.
you know, year 7 is all I can say.
Yep, makes sense.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Okay, well,
Dang it, Tyler.
um,
Or Kyler, sorry.
I don't think the production, or rather not the production, I know the production isn't here, so I don't think the stream does either. You also have to do without it. Actually, we just heard the impact go off, so maybe it's fixed. We'll see. Oh no! No!
We
heard
saw that
that.
too.
We heard that indeed.
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
That's a massive chunk of HP being taken off both Dark One and J Supreme. Also, can I just complain about the fact that Smoke is bringing the FMG 9 on this bomb side? I don't know, but you know, call me old school, call me traditionalist, whatever.
5 seconds
I want to
left.
see a shotgun coming out on Smoke. At least I guess there's 6 impact being brought out by the
Attackers are
defense, so
heading
there's
out to
that.
defuse a
Still,
bomb.
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the FMG, especially if you're gonna have your Smoke on site. It is what it is, though. Smoke has to play with low HP, Malusi even less. We'll see how they go. Dark One, 0-7-1 at the moment, so, you know, the lack of HP definitely isn't going to do them any good. And maybe they play more patiently, more ready this round around, and maybe that gets them their first kill.
What I'm really looking at here is the fact we have 8 grenades by Hocking, and there is no Jaeger, no Aruni, no Amai. This is going to be a very interesting round for Hocking, especially if they're allowed to use their grenades. Oh, the skeleton key.
Man, Garden
somehow
is
like
literally
40
grenading
out.
themselves, fellow. They don't need the attack to grenade them. They're literally throwing impacts at each other.
And
I think
we just saw unknown skeleton key sup as well. Yes, he just shot his own teammate Kyler. Oh my god, that thing kicks like a mule as well. That's why it did so much damage. Yet he was so far away. Hey, speaking of grenades though, there's one. Boom shakalaka. There goes the shield, and no one's here to reinforce the rotate. No, Jay, you gotta make that decision the second you back off. You cannot re-peek the rotate hole and then try to reinforce it. And everyone's just dropping dead once again. Hocking is just,
Attackers have
they're
located
taking
a
these
bomb.
rounds by force, Boxy.
I mean, you know, the kills onto Malusi and Smoke were at least to some extent gifted. Sully, though, finds a triple in the round. Everyone's just swinging the Iana. The plan is go down now. Legion playing bottom laundry stairs, but his position is given away now as he fires a few pop shots and misses. Goes for the plank. Will he find the first one? Yes, he will. No, he won't. No, he won't. There we go. Pushed out from below as well. It's the Finka with the spear, not the LMG, the spear. Spears around. And it's another one for Hocking, and they look damn near unstoppable once again.
I mean, I think they realized that there was no ADS or anything. It's like, all right, we've got 8 nades. Let's just start using them. They started just throwing them like crazy. They got instant control of elbow, which is something that takes a long time for certain teams. I would have preferred to have the Smoke pop out a toxic nade to at least allow him to safely reinforce that rotate, because we just saw him out in the open and he just got shot, and that was a big problem throughout the entire round for Garden City, was having to worry about both the back take from pillar/E-box and also the gigantic opening
Attackers need
leading
to
from
locate
elbow
and
into
defuse
sight.
as many bombs as they
And
can.
that probably explains why Garden City do not want to go back to that bottom floor. They want to reattempt the top floor of Kids and Dorms with a slightly different lineup that is a tad bit more normal. I'm shocked we have both the Bandit and Mute, yet no Kaid,
Attackers have discovered the
because
location
of how
of a
easy
bomb.
it is to break those Bandit batteries with a Maverick on the board. So I guess maybe comfort is king here for Garden City, or maybe they don't have a Kaid unlocked, maybe?
We have seen crazier things. Like, if you remember our
That is
first
true.
week casting NJCAA, we had, first of all, we had a team
10
that
seconds left.
had the same name, only the numbers at the end of their names differ. The
I
second
do
of all, they
remember
only
that.
had
5 seconds
operators
to
like
insertion.
Capcan and Brook. Like, they did have most of the defenders, so I guess technically it is
Attackers'
possible.
objective is to defuse
But
the
I
bomb.
also feel like, you know, maybe it's just, like I said, comfort is king. Also, we were just informed that the team that has all same names and no operators unlocked, they're playing on the secondary stream. So maybe turn both of those up. Maybe watch us and them, because that's definitely going to be an interesting match, so to say.
Oh, man. Well, I hope they're doing well in that game.
PTSD
too. I hope
flashing.
they're doing well in that game. It has been a hot minute since I have seen oh my god, was it like Soldier 800 billion thousand, or was that a different thing? I can't quite recall. Oh hey, look at this.
Or Ranger, right? Ranger.
Oh
something?
my! I don't even think I want to remember. That's gonna start bringing back flashbacks. I don't think we need that today. What we don't need as well is Sully to die on the entry,
Oh.
and then the unknown to follow soon after. I mean, I talked about this earlier, Boxy. If we get to see Garden City just kind of run around and just shoot people, they're most likely going to win those gunfights. It comes down to the
This?
site presence. That's when they begin to kind of crumble apart. Yeah, exactly like this. It's a 2v4 off the rip, as you like to jokingly
Attackers
say
have
that I
located a
mention all
bomb.
the time. As Hocking really haven't gotten their footing at all. Mostly even in the building to begin with on round number 9.
Oh, it feels like both sides have struggled on entering on attack. They all just kind of enter in
dropped.
different places, and then they end up being punished for it because they're not close enough to each other. Gonna be the Vigil though on their own, finding another one. It's all up to Subkid to clutch it out once again. Not on the UMP this time, on the Zofia LMG. So, you know, if there's one gun with which you want to find yourself in a 1vx situation, I guarantee you it's this one. Still 2 charges left in her launcher. I assume it is the concussive one, so those could help her isolate the fights a little bit further. And, well, you know, she has her job cut out for her, but I think it's definitely doable. If it's
Attackers
doable
have
for anyone, it's probably
recovered
for
their
your Subkid. They have remained calm in these previous clutch situations. Melee's the Barb wanted just to try and bait out a swing, but the defenders know better. They're just playing it patiently on the bomb side right now. They're not throwing away the advantage, and I appreciate them for it. 55 seconds, though, and Zofia has to start putting in some massive work. So,
And unlike the last one before, everyone's on full HP. You've got that LMG though. Maybe connect all
Okay.
headshots. This could be doable.
Okay.
Finds one, but there is Buddy with the re-swing. And yeah, no, it's not going to be a clutch in the 1v4. Sadly, our wishes do not come true. You have given the ultimatum of the caster curse. But Hawking still have the round advantage on the attack. That is not bad at all. Like you mentioned, there's a good chance of overtime. We could definitely see that. I feel like Hawking will at least secure one more round. It's just going to be up to Garden City to remove that advantage from their opponents and just try to do more what they did last round, which is kind of just catch Hawking off guard, play with that element of surprise, and just let your fraggers of Momo just kind of do their thing. Just let them run around and kill people. That's just your best option. And I think they realize that because Momo's back on the Vigil.
Attackers need to
I think
locate
what we've
and
seen
defuse
so far,
bombs.
like the trend with both of these teams, is that Hawking, they have their strong independent game, and they kind of always take advantage in the first part of the half. You know, we've seen them do that on defense and attack. Then Garden City, they slowly but surely realize how Hawking is playing, and they slowly start countering around that and then winning more rounds as the time on the half progresses. So it feels like Hawking always gets the early advantage, but then Garden City later on manages to even it out. That's what happened on defense, and they're following
Attackers have
suit
discovered
on
the location of a
offense
bomb.
as well, right? So I do want to see what happens here. I
10
think
seconds
either
remaining.
team can still win the map. Hawking getting to match point first, like you said, is extremely
5
likely.
seconds to
But
insertion.
again, I wouldn't count out Garden City just yet. Though they do have to defend kitchen and
Attackers are
dining
moving
once
to
again,
defuse
and
the
that's a
bomb.
hard one to defend. We've already spoken about this, or I have rather before, and Hawking was defending it. It's a bomb site that you don't usually see in rank, and so newer, lower tier comp teams, they have a hard time holding kitchen and dining because it's a little bit different. It's more of a comp hold instead of a ranked hold. So, what do you think?
I don't think I have had... Oh, I can't even remember the last time I played Oregon in ranked anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't even remember what site we normally go to. We kind of banned this map because we just played so much. It's normally just
Do you even
clubhouse,
remember?
clubhouse, and then preceded by more clubhouse in my rank games. So, yeah, I don't even remember what site is normally picked in rank. I mean, in NA, meeting room is the favored site, and then EU, it's actually dining room, funny enough.
It's
But-
dining, yeah.
But it's just, yeah, it's the tertiary site. It's the weakest site to go to, technically speaking, for either team, whether it be meeting room or dining
Attackers
room.
drop the
So
diffuser.
this could be a very easy win for Hawking, potentially. Maybe not. They've lost their hard
Attackers have
reach, but there
recovered
is a
their diffuser.
gigantic opening leading into meeting room. So maybe if they just get the Maverick to make a couple of openings here for the Ash to blast open a soft wall, that could maybe allow them to enter kitchen. They could go for a default plan, and then the rest would be history after that. But that's a big if Garden City allow them to do all that in a timely manner, and if they don't pick off anybody like the Ash or the Maverick during these next couple moments.
Yeah, I mean, we are halfway into the round, and there has been some control established. The one thing that I will say, though, you know, Thermite and Mute are both dead, but I will trade my heart breacher for nobody any single day. He's just been the solo carry for his team so far. So the fact that he's off the board so early on is absolutely great. Sully finally gets another kill. That's Jay Supreme falling, but it'll be equalized once again. Momo on the vigil, like you pointed out earlier, will take out Royal. So it's a 3-3. 70 seconds left on the clock, and the defenders, they're just chilling. They're not being pushed out yet. We do see Malusi again with the Russian reflex, just holding a pixel there from inside of dining, just waiting for someone to push into kitchen. And I like that. I like the passivity from defenders. They're not being overly aggressive. Speaking of passivity, that's not something Momo's doing. He goes fishing. He finds another one. That's Ash falling as well. Now it is all up to the Iana and Fink to put this one up.
Well, it looks like T-Bone's going in for the plant. Sully will have to now cover on very low HP. Might get shot in the back potentially as well. I don't think Mo's aware that the plant has actually gone down inside of kitchen. Now the post plant here favoring Hocking, but the man advantage surely is not, as it is only Sully left. They don't have any grenades. They have to fight their problems head on. They'll down Chronic, but they'll most likely have to worry about some sort of reswing here. Once again, very low HP, and they're going to get met with a double Pokeball by Momo. Plenty of time left to defuse for Garden City, and they'll manage to bring back the round count to a stable position of 5-5. We're getting closer and closer towards match point, or at least map point too. But man, why did nobody check laundry doorway? Out of all the places your Vigil player is going to be on the roam, he would be there. Why did you check like garage? That was so odd.
Momo massive. Momo massive. That's all I'm going to say.
Massive.
But can you answer a question for me? We're at that part of the broadcast where I ask you stupid questions for, people that don't get the basics of Rainbow Six. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
How many drones are there for attackers to use?
2 for each. You do simple math.
Okay.
2 times 10, or 2 times 5 equals 10. I can't
Good
even do
job.
simple math. It's okay.
Okay, well,
okay.
you didn't go to college, so it's understandable.
Yeah,
Well,
it
10 in
happens.
total. What can you do with those drones? Because they have multiple uses.
You can find your enemies.
Okay.
You can go find the bomb site, who they're bringing, where they are throughout the round. You can establish a flank watch, especially if there's no nomad, which we have not seen on Oregon. Why? I don't know.
Beats me. Yeah, I was looking for the flank watch especially because that seems to be the biggest problem for whoever is on attack. There's no flank watch established, and so the roamers, if they're not killed out in the first 30-40 seconds of the round, they're running rampant. They're just racking up kills. So please start setting up those drones, or like you said, bring a nomad, even bring a gridlock or send Fisher for all I care. Bring something actually have on that flank so that you don't keep getting surprised by it. Because, well, Binks put it so nicely last week. What is the definition of insanity, fellow?
Just doing or seeing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting something to change, a new outcome.
Thank you. And that is what attackers, again, on both sides, have been doing. They keep sprinting in, they keep taking a little bit of control, maybe droning out their opponents a little bit, but no one is ever ready for those flanks. I don't think we've ever seen an attacker or kill a defender that's been flanking. They're all just kind of there taking the ones. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's getting infuriating at this point. But like I said, we're in round 11. It's currently 5-5, and whoever wins this round is going to be on map point. What do you think that will be?
Oh no, not Jay. Why is there no ADS? I thought they learned.
It's not going to be Jay?
Okay. Oh,
no, insanity. Here we go.
Oh my goodness gracious. They've got the man advantage still, so that's nice at least for Hocking. They did end up losing Royal, and they have no idea Momo's playing for vertical. Oh,
you were saying?
Just one drone! And you figure that out, man. Have somebody rotate around. You know this guy's been roaming on the Vigil, and oh god, it is just still complete and utter chaos.
But
Attackers have
yeah, Vigil fellow, how will we drone him if
they're gonna see the giant hole in the roof.
No,
they're gonna see that.
Vigil. Vigil go invisible, fellow.
Oh my god. Well, apparently his new buff up lets him be invisible to people too. Like just straight up.
Apparently.
Okay.
Or Hocking just aren't reacting. Yep. And keep in mind, we're only halfway into the round. We're 10 seconds over that. The round is over. Nobody finds the last one, and it's Garden City getting to match point first. This, I believe, is the first time in the entire map where they've taken the lead, and it's get to match point. One round, and they take this when Hocking have been looking extremely strong for most of the time on Oregon.
Both teams just really don't like droning in this game, I guess, or just knowing when to drone. You have, especially in that position, like you're trying to go for that double take. If any of that fails, then all of that control you established in that first portion of your take in elbow is basically nullified tenfold because you don't have anybody playing for like a pincer attack. And that's exactly what happened. Momo killed everybody coming from lobby, and then he just had to rotate laundry stairs to apply pressure onto elbow wall. So Garden City, once again, they're being enabled by not just themselves but their opponents to run around and kill people, and it's just working. I really don't know how, but you know, Momo just built Diffie.
Momo built Diffie?
Yeah.
We'll see if that will be enough for Garden City to take this one, or if Hocking somehow pull through and they take it to overtime. I called it relatively early on. I said, you know, even though it is 3-1, I do see overtime on the board. And, well, given how Caster Curse goes, this means that Garden should take this round. But I guess we're in a paradox because I just said the Garden will win, and that means that Hocking must win.
To locate a bomb and defuse it.
Such is the life of a caster. But let's see if Momo can put his mess in work again. He will be hiding in kitchen early on, and the attackers have all spawned close to construction or main. They will be taking most of the bomb site from the big tower. It's going to be Subkid going into garage early on, and Melusi, I think, is close enough to try and contest him. I think she's above on the laundry stairs. Not sure. We'll see what ends up happening, though. Oh, she's back on site now. Okay, she was close to armory. She's back. We'll see.
Do my eyes deceive
Yes.
me, Matt? Is that
Yes.
a nomad?
No,
is that a
you're
nomad
dreaming.
you're seeing today? I must be dreaming.
No.
Oh well, I
You
guess I
are-
didn't see a jackal because he's gone. Unfortunately.
You've had Momo pinch you. Snap
Oh,
back
my-
to reality.
Dear Lord, yeah, Momo the mammoth. Guy's going crazy, and he is just
Manus.
being able to. Yeah, that's honestly a better way to sound it. Mammoth just seems a bit gross. Menace though, that strikes fear into the hearts of many that played this game competitively. But hey, at least we've got the exothermic charge working out here, so there is some glimmer of hope for Hocking. But I mean, if they never deal with this menace of Momo, as we have now coined him as, this could be a very challenging position. And the air jab is just out in the open. Momo, you stared at it twice. Please shoot it. If Momo does not shoot that air
he
jab,
doesn't want to give his position away. I think.
yeah, that might have been
I think
it,
that was the
honestly.
play.
Yeah, he finally shot it, so that's good. I thought he just
would-
straight up didn't see it because that's such a weird spot
Oh,
to
no.
put the air jab. But nope, he did.
He was just standing there, menacingly. But that will not be enough, though. Unknown will fry him off, so no more Momo for this round. It's still a 3-4. Garden City still have the upper hand. With Momo off the board, it's looking a little bit better for Hocking. And they are on drones, fellow. They brought the Nomad. They're on drones. They're doing everything perfectly. I think they're maybe listening to odds. The rotate there in Attic has been reinforced, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that tornado. The air tip's coming in clutch. Someone has been caught by one of those. And another one has been deployed by the Nomad. He's looking carefully towards Army, but I don't think anyone's there. 50 seconds left on the clock. Nomad will die, though. That's 2 for Chronix on the round. Second exothermic charge will be coming out, and it's going to be a trophy breach. But everyone on Garden City has just been racking up those skills. Chronix with the last one. We are not going to overtime. It's actually Garden City coming back, equalizing it, and then slowly but surely building up enough lead to win this one 7-5, John.
Well, it was very close, and Garden City did technically come back from a pretty good deficit. Originally, we had Hocking come out of the gate swing on their attacks, and then finally we had Momo run around and do a good job on the entry roll of that main roamer. And, you know, it took until the last round, the 12th round, to have a Nomad and more mid-game droning. But even then, it was still a very awkward attack because we didn't see, you know, that proper deer push along with Addict. And then we saw the Thermite try to open up into deer to that double wall, which just allows another crossfire to be established. That really wouldn't have changed much. It was already a 1v4, but just something to note. Like, you normally don't want to do that as a Thermite. Maybe reopen up kids if you're in that position to do that. But yeah, I figured I'd just mention that just as a little quirk. But yeah, the droning was very insufficient by both teams. A majority of that matchup, it did improve over time. So I'm hoping when we go into Clubhouse, that can be said as well, that it just ends up improving when we go into map number 2.
Do we know whose map pick this was? I didn't catch it before.
It is shown on like the on the thing in the upper right. It would technically be like over like here somewhere. My finger. There we go. I know how to point.
There we go.
Surely. We'll get to see it again, so that'll be the first thing
We'll
to
get
talk
to see
about
it.
when we come back from a break. But yes, we do have to go to a quick little break. We'll be back before we go into map number 2 to see if it'll be a quick 2-0 here for the defense side of Garden City, or if Hocking can bring us to a third map. Stick around and find out, as we'll be back in just a little while.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Me and Fellow back at it once again. We are not done with our series yet. We have Hocking versus Garden City still going at it. Garden City, they did win map 1, and it was Hocking's pick, if I'm not mistaken. So next up is going to be Clubhouse, and then decider, should we need to play it, will be Willa. What do you think of Clubhouse coming up, Fellow? And what do you think of GCC winning Hocking's pick as well?
Well, it was a very close game, and I feel like a lot of teams know how to properly play on Oregon, so that like shouldn't be a problem. Although we did not see like the default of how to play on Oregon there in that game, not at all. And we're probably not going to see that on Clubhouse, to be honest. We're probably going to see Momo go run around on the Vigil again, just kind of do his thing, and just find a bunch of kills for his team. I'm wondering what side both teams are actually starting on, because for both of them, I feel like maybe their opposing side was a bit better. You know, for all right, Hocking City are Hocking City are attacking. You said that, Kyler? Garden City are attacking. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Hocking's not a
I
city.
feel like for Garden City, their attacking half was a bit worse because they had to do more than just find kills. They had to, do hard destruction, drone. That's not really their forte. So maybe they'll still find like the default round count or a 3-3 split, which wouldn't be bad either. But besides that, maybe that could give Hocking the early advantage, so they have more rounds to bleed in the second half. But we are just about ready to get in the game. So who knows? Maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Yeah. Going into Clubhouse, I just want to say you were mentioning about how Momo went massive in Oregon, how he's just going to be sprinting around. But at least in my opinion, Clubhouse is a much harder map to just sprint around and wreak havoc than, say, Oregon is. So I do think that he's going to have a harder time doing that on defense, but I do want to see how it ends up going. And, let's see what the operator bands have to say. Thatcher definitely going to be on the board. Wouldn't be surprised if it's also a hard breacher coming out. There we go. Yeah, Hocking with their Thatcher band once again. Do you think hard breacher, or do you think we're going to see something else? Like last map it was Monty, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, Monty would actually be a good ban on Clubhouse. Actually, like kind of viable. But I feel like we're gonna have a Jackal pen instead. I've got a gut feeling that we're gonna see that instead. Nope, never mind. All right, no, it's still gonna be the same comfort ban by Garden City. But like I said, Montaigne's actually kind of a viable ban on Clubhouse, so I'm not gonna really hate that too much. I guess they're probably gonna want to ban the Thunderbird again, shockingly. Which again, I don't think it's like a horrible ban, but just there are definitely better options. And no. It's going to be the Capcan, which is actually a target ban because Hocking brought the Capcan a lot on their defense and actually got them a lot of kills. Like Garden City just forgot to check for his EDDs a lot of rounds.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm pretty sure Garden City also brought him out. And there we go. Speaking of target bans, going to be Vigil taken off the board. Who was the beast on Vigil? It was the menacing Momo. So, well, he'll have to pick another operator to run around on Clubhouse. And like I said, in my opinion, that's already a harder feat to accomplish than it is on Oregon. So Momo will really...
Lie detected. Momo will what?
Oh my god. I said Momo, well, he'll have a harder time doing that on attack because he isn't the thermite. He still has a job to do. He has to open the breach and maybe then go for the frags. But before that, he needs to play it safe. He needs to be on the drones. So I do want to see what he'll do on defense. And I just want to go over this one more time before I hand it off to you, Fellow. It's we've already mentioned this, but I think it actually, has proven to be the thing, is that Hocking, at least on map 1, they also started in defense, and they were the team that always, in each half, they garner the early lead, and then slowly, Garden City, they kind of figure out how Hocking plays, and they kind of figure out what works, what doesn't, and they gained the lead, or at least equalized the scoreline. So I do think we keep seeing this. I think Hocking, again, takes the early advantage, and then Garden City manages to, at least equalize it, maybe even pull ahead. But do you want to change your answer? Do you think we're still seeing 3 maps? This is going to be 2 for Garden City. This is their map pick.
I'm not too sure that we will see a third map. I have a strange suspicion that we're not going to. But you did talk about overtime capabilities. Yeah, overtime is a good chance it could happen again. It was 7-5. It was very close to that actually happening. So I feel like there's anything kind of up for grabs for both these teams. It just depends on, what they end up getting accomplished. And wow, Garden City, are they hard breaching a wall? This has got to be a different team. I don't know what we're looking at right now.
This let me explain why. This is because this is, Clubhouse, and the main breach on Cash is actually the outside breach, meaning that your hard breacher will most likely get to the point where he needs to breach because he will not need to enter the building first. And this is honestly what Garden City had some problems with on their attacks. It's just that their hard breachers were usually dying before they got to where they were supposed to be. But again, this is not a problem here because it is an external wall, and the chance of being spawn peaked, well, they obviously are. They are pretty slim. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Speaking of hard breachers, Ace, though, he will open construction. The Lion Skin comes out. Sledge will enter in front of him, but I think Ace will be following suit pretty fast. Cybertruck Hollow, though, that makes me want to cry. Why would you do that to me now, buddy?
Oh, I think he tried using the nade to actually break the barricade. It's not going to work, but he still finds one through the doorway. And I believe the Selma charge is now activating out in the cash wall as well. This is not a horrible position for Garden City. We've got Vondel getting rid of the Dark One, but still a multifaceted approach. There goes a C4 attempted by Subkid, but he's just caught out in the middle of CCTV window. Now getting finished off there by Chronic Swifty. This play is so far not being too bad for Garden City. Momo does get downed, but theoretically speaking, if they just clear out the Rook, they could maybe go for a plant inside of Cash Room, but not having Case recovered could make that quite challenging in this 2 versus 3.
We'll definitely see what ends up happening. I do find it interesting that, main breach still hasn't been dealt with, opened up, but just a few small holes that Maverick has made, and he's pretty uncontested on that balcony. But, the Thermite is still alive, the Ace is still alive. Yes, they have opened up construction. And there we go. Finally, the main breach is also being opened up. So I guess my point is being nullified. But only 40 seconds left, so that is pretty late. Control of Garage hasn't been established yet. Thermite goes for the swing, but he will not live long. Triple for Wandel there. He's just playing his life and doing it amazingly on the rafters. Solely now playing inside of Cash, trying to find someone, but no one's in construction just yet. They may be entering it soon, but one end up mattering. Another one for Sully. He swings out. He gets the last one. And, well, that's a pretty clear-cut round for the defenders. Legion going massive on the rafters with a triple, and there's not much to say there.
Well, Hocking able to punish the fact that Garden City really never had the time to get control of rafters. There was plenty of coverage up inside a cash room via construction, but besides that, there wasn't a ton accomplished there by Garden City. If they were able to either maybe get Plat Wall opened up earlier and then maybe get a tad bit more aggressive, maybe have somebody approach from maybe Swamp, for example, on top of someone with Garage Doorway, that could have been a much easier push in through rafters, or just having someone kind of proxy that rotate hole. That could have been a very different round for Garden City, especially since they had the opening pick, which is something that can be quite challenging to do when you're on the offense. But heading into the basement floor now, Church and Arsenal here for Hocking just won their first defensive round. They've got a relatively normal-esque setup. They've got the Valkyrie for intel. They've got some sort of denial with the Jaeger. And they also have the Kaid Claw to stop the hatch from being opened up other than the Maverick Blowtorch. The Rook play, though, gotta admit, once again, I'm not a gigantic fan of. I just, once again, I feel like there's better options in this game.
Speaking of the Rook, am I going crazy, or did we see a few players subbed in and out on the side of Hocking?
Yes, you'd be correct.
Okay.
Vondel was not here. I think T-Bone was, though. T-Bone was.
T-Bone was? Yeah, okay, possible. I don't know. Well, I was looking at the names and I'm like, something doesn't feel quite right. And obviously, I don't have any screenshots from the last map. These are also players that I'm not really familiar with, except for a few names that I've already casted in the past. So I'm always like, am I just going crazy? Has this player just been so silent on the previous map that I didn't really notice them, or their name didn't say it out too often? But no, okay, thank you for clarifying. The Legion has been brought in, Vandal that is, rather, and he's been putting in so much work. Triple for him in round one. Like I said, those rafters usually you play for maybe a kill and to stall as much time as you can, but Vandal absolutely relentless on the rafter as the Legion found 3 picks into Garage, and well, that was pretty much the biggest factor for Hocking's defensive win on round one. We do see Maverick trying to open up the dirt tunnel, not really successful, solely with the entry onto Momo, who at least is not on Thermite this time around, but Sledge is still gone. That still means, a lot of soft breach potential, soft breach pressure.
Well, minute 40, and we already have Hocking get that first pick on a Momo, someone who is very dominant throughout map number 1. We also have the kitchen hatch maybe attempting to be opened up in these next couple moments. There is currently Electroclaw stopping them from doing that, so they would need a grenade most likely to destroy it, but it is only Chronic who has that option. Sully finds yet another one, actually downs the Dark One, but gets caught on the reload, but already finds 3 on the round. Plenty of damage to be done here for Hocking against Garden City, as it's only a 2 versus 4, and now things have taken a turn for the worse once again for the attacking side.
Well, the time is slowly becoming a fifth man for the defense, so Sully dying won't even end up mattering. And like you said, he already got 3 kills. You know, I got my frags. Now you just gotta play those scams that you probably placed early on in the round, and you gotta help out your teammates. It's all up to the Ace and the Maverick, the duo of hard breachers, and they haven't breached much yet. Selmas will be coming out on the church wall, though, but that just creates an extra angle for the Ace to shoot. Won't even matter, though, because, well, Jaeger's playing there. He goes for the swing, he gets it. Vondo will find Chronix, and Jay Supreme will have to win this 1v4 to win this one out. I'm pretty sure he got the first kill too, so it would need to be an ace. 35 seconds left. He doesn't know where to go. Utilities just flying towards him. One Selma on the hatch won't be enough. Everyone knows that, both him and the defender, so he will have to rotate around fully, but he's loud. He's sprinting around. He gives his position away. Crouching now won't help, my friend. Creeping down the blue stairs, though. Legion Mine gives this position away even further. He decides to go for the pull-up with just 14 seconds left. He shoots another Legion Mine, but no one's peeking him just yet. A few pre-fires coming out through the wall. He tries answering another Goo Mine at his feet, and it's Vondel with, well, yet another frag. And yet another round for Hocking on defense. It's going well for them, once again, at least on, you know, the start of their defensive side. But I do want to see what Garden City do once they catch up onto how Hocking is playing.
Yeah, we did see 2-0 initially for Hocking as well on map number 1, and then we saw Garden City eventually clap back and bring things all the way to a 3-3 split, which is not bad for your attacking half. And then we saw them really begin to pick up the slack, especially on their second half as well. So I wouldn't be all that concerned for them just yet, especially moving into the tertiary pick of gym and bedroom once again. So I mean, the main point of contention is normally like that cash room extension, then rotating in jacuzzi. I actually don't know if we'll have Hocking try to extend into cash room, because their lineup is not really utility eccentric. They've got a castle, which is alright for helping to stop the jacuzzi wall from being blown up by a grenade to help open up the wall itself. But besides that, they really don't have a lot to actually move that farther out into the map on this top floor.
Yep. Well, I don't know. We will see what ends up happening, I guess. And I'm just looking. I'm still so disturbed by, you know, the right side of the screen when the operators just are A, mirrored, and B, they don't have a health bar, so it looks even weirder and more I don't even know the word. I don't know, the proportions are just off, it feels like. There we go, at least the health bars are there to help us out. But it's still, I don't know. Anyways, this gets me thinking, what do you think the attacker repick will introduce to the game? I think it's going to be super interesting. I think attackers will, you know, start actually going for operators that suit their attack best, instead of just picking these jacks of all trade operators, and that is probably going to mean a less stale meta. I'm super excited for, you know, all of that to come live.
A bomb has been located.
Well, I think maybe it could allow for more attacker favoritism on certain maps, or at least a couple of sites, but you know, only time will tell. We still don't get to see that repick implemented just yet, because it's not allowed inside of this league. So maybe further down the road we could see that finally brought out into fruition here inside of this division. But no first initial pick happening just yet here between Garden City and Hocking. The jacuzzi wall's getting opened up, and there is actually some sort of extension leading into cash room, but it's just a couple of castle barricades that could still waste a fair amount of time, especially since Garden City really have nothing to properly get rid of those barricades besides the breaching charges in the hands of Buddy, but he's nowhere to be seen right now, so this actually could be a very long time waste depending on how exactly Garden City want to try to flush out this castle.
I don't want to harp on anyone specifically, but watching Mavericks on both teams has just been very interesting, I'll say, throughout both of these maps so far. I don't know, it just always feels like whoever I'm watching on the Maverick, they just kind of draw very abstract shapes into the wall with a Maverick torch, and they use a lot of the canisters, usually when it's not really needed. So I'm not sure if that's a choice, if that's just someone struggling to really use the operator to their fullest extent, but it's just something that I've seen so often that I can't be quiet about anymore. Momo with 1 frag on the F2 and the reflex, which is interesting. Finds the Legion Mine at a wrong time. Somehow survives the swing, though. The Pokeball will fly towards him, but kill Nobody instead. And somehow, someway, Momo's still alive. Just a sea of blue. Double for Royal. T-Bone finds one as well. It's a 4v2 now, and Momo, once again, he's very low on HP. Jay on the other side of the map can help him out. No reflex coming out. And there we go. Momo down. Finished off. Triple for Royal. Can he make it for fellow Jay on such extreme low HP? He gets swung by Wandle. And well, Royal stays on 3, but he didn't even need to find more because once again, Hocking just going in clean.
Well, looks like Garden City are not really all that comfortable so far on their attacks. Very sluggish, and also there's kind of an odd positionings once again. I mean, they managed to get, some cash control, and then they also were able to kind of, move their way out of Jacuzzi, but still not winning any of their gunfights. We're not setting up any proper crossfires. I don't think anybody tried to go Logi Hatch as well, which explains why Hocking was able to keep that part of the map in their pocket for so long, despite the fact we had people pushing up from main stairs, from Jacuzzi, and from Cash Room, because we just had no one Logi. But going back to CCTV and Cash Room, once again, a peculiar lineup, and maybe Buddy could maybe punish them for not having a lot of proper util denial, because if he just throws out a single cluster charge in the middle of the site, that could just burn through all the pieces of utility and maybe even kill somebody, because we have seen a very anchor-based composition by Hocking a majority of their defensive rounds.
I don't know, round 4, which is, the one we're on right now, is usually the round where Garden City start coming alive. They see, or rather they say, Hocking is playing like this, so we can do this, this, and that instead to counter them. At least that's what happened on Oregon, like I said, on both sides. So let's see if they can keep the trend up and if they can start pulling rounds in, because they need to win all 3 upcoming rounds, including this one, to finish it out on a 3-3 split. And honestly, the chance of that, from what we've seen so far, are pretty slim. Yes, it is their map pick, but at least on defense, Hocking have absolutely been ripping, shredding even through them. And I don't think they're showing any signs of slowing down. Excuse me, words are hard.
Well, first 30 seconds gone. Garden City are beginning to get themselves propped up for the exact same push, essentially, that they had last time, getting that back wall and construction opened on up. Then they can begin to maybe establish the same pressure inside a plat wall, but they don't get the first pick. It's actually Sup who's going to eliminate Chronic Swifty from the main balcony. So already, Hocking are once again just on the come-up, and they are refusing to let any round slip by their fingertips so far, because, I mean, they've already gotten 3 in a row. They get the first pick on round number 4, and that is just going to slow down Garden City a pretty big amount, since they now have to be precautious of that roam game and maybe a potential re-swing that could bring things into a 5 versus 3. Even worse for Garden City if that happens.
Well, Chronic on the Zofia, the entry death for his team is 0-4-2 currently. And what does that tell you, especially when someone's playing Zofia of all operators?
Oh, well, they are... What was your question initially? That just came out weird.
Well, what does that tell you when you just see someone, as a Zofia main and they're 0-4-2? What does that tell you about how they've been entering the building?
They are not.
Okay, well, I was going to say that there's no refrag potential. They have no one to refrag them, and they're just way overextended. But I guess your point also stands. The Selma charges, the hard breaches coming out from construction into cash once again. And again, while I am a fan of, this more split up and not as convoluted of an attack as Garden City seem to be doing, it cannot come at the cost of the main breach staying closed. Subkid getting a double on the round. Momo and Nabari both lose a lot of HP. Dark One will fall. Momo finally answers with one of his own, but it's too late, too little. There we go, triple for Subkid. He just volts through the rotate hole, takes out Momo, and now that's Case in his hands as well. Nabari will have to clutch this one up, but he doesn't even find the first one. He's just being swung from multiple angles, and, well, he can't do anything about it. But let me just reiterate before I hand it off to you, fellow. I like the fact that you're trying to pinch and push from multiple sides, but you cannot divert so many forces to the, flank / second attack that your main breach stays closed or only gets opened in the last 40 seconds like you have done on this round and on round 1 when attacking the same bomb site. That is just something you cannot afford to do. Garage uncontested as well. That's a losing recipe on Ash CCTV on Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's just the step-by-step phase of how we have Garden City trying that. Normally you get Plat Wall opened up, then Raptors control, and then you move into Cash Room through construction if you want to do that. Not the other way around where you go get construction control, then you go to Plat Wall, and then you clear out Raptors. That's the exact opposite way of how you're supposed to do that, and you may think it doesn't have a big impact on how you play out the round, but no, it most certainly does, based off of pressure that you establish against the defense and how that forces them to fall back in those positions. So moving now back onto the basement, I'm wondering what kind of step-by-step process Garden City opt for again. I think we saw them get first picked, funny enough, by Sully. He found 3 because the roam clear was just completely jumbled. And then we didn't really see like any sort of control / hard destruction established at all by Garden City. So I'm not really all that hopeful for them because they haven't really changed much in terms of composition, really, besides that fuse pick, in all honesty.
I guess this is one of those matchups where everyone just wins their opponent's map pick, and we end up going into 3 maps. And
oh man, not again.
Slowing down using the Razor Holo on the Valk. That's definitely something I'm gonna try. I love that Holo. And again, now that you can use all 1x scopes on all guns, there's so much creativity. You can use your favorite scopes. It's gonna be amazing, man. Well, anyways, we have Fuse crouching through bar, trying to go unnoticed, but he will get spotted by the camera. The camera has now been shot, but his position has been given away. Momo getting very aggressive there on blue, leaves Wandel at 1 HP, but that's not where your Thermite should be playing, not before he opens the breach. He still has 2 smokes, 2 drones, and an exothermic charge in pocket. What are you doing, Momo? Why are you looking away? And then he gets pushed by Solly. Triple for him on the round. That was the freest kill onto Vandal, at least. Solly just chilling there. And Nobody hasn't really been told someone is on those stairs. Thankfully, Chronic is covering, but he decides to retreat. The hard breach comes out on the hatch, and it's more than half the round. We're in a 5v2 yet again. Gone.
I cannot believe we just saw that happen to Momo. That is just the most awkward thing, and no one has still dealt with Sully. Almost a 4K, but they will actually get the ace stolen from them, or almost a 5K, sorry. Only a 4K. My mistake. But, oh my god, Hocking, they are just doing God's work on this first half. I really did not think they would be able to bounce back so well. They've already gotten like the same amount of rounds that they had in the entire series last map already in the first 5 rounds. I mean, that is just incredibly impressive by Hocking. And I mean, we have not seen any change by Garden City, no adaptation. Their best option at this point is to hope they get a Hail Mary round here and then bring the exact same aggression out on their defense, because their attacking rounds have just not looked good at all.
Attackers need to locate.
It just reminds me of that meme. I think it's from Simpsons, where someone is kicking someone on the ground, and then people around them are going, "Stop! He's dead already." And that is exactly what's happening to Garden City. They have shown no signs of life ever since they've won Oregon. They've barely been loaded in the server. I don't think the outcome would be much different if they weren't loaded in the server. To be completely honest with you, Hocking are just shredding through them at the moment. And well, I gotta say, fellow, with how Hocking are playing right now, and well, by extension, how Garden City are playing right now as well, Hocking are just my hard favorites to win this entire series. Yes, they still need 2 rounds on Clubhouse. Yes, they still need the entire Willa win to actually win the series. But honestly, I think this is very feasible if they keep their momentum up. And we gotta mention this. Both teams currently on the standings in their group, which I think is Group B, if I remember correctly, they are 3-1. So at least in terms of score, they are tied. And, well, we have an interesting format going on. We have 3 7-team groups, so 2 spots per group will be given for playoffs to the first 2 teams in the group, and then the last 2 spots will be decided between the groups via tiebreakers. So everyone really needs this win because they will cement themselves as the 2nd seeded team, at least for this week. And well, looks like it's gonna be Hocking.
Interesting thing here for Momo is that they've actually put him back on main entry. He is no longer rocking the Thermite. He's on the other FBI operator of the Ash. That can maybe help him enable a couple of kills and help the rest of his team just kind of pick up the pace. And they already have Sully down, not by the Ash, but I believe someone out on the single wall leading into construction. And then Momo steps in big as Royal tries to revive their fallen brethren of Sully. And now it's a quick finisher for Momo to get his teammate that confirmed kill. So 5 versus 3 off the bat for Garden City as they're looking to get control of logistics as well. A really good structure so far by the offense. Let's just hope they can try to confirm this next couple of frags coming out. Momo gets their double on the round, and I mean, things are just not looking good all of a sudden here for Hocking. I guess finally getting Momo off the thermite was one of the big issues that they finally resolved, because the man is just doing so much for his team on this round. And, I mean, it's just the rook proned in the open, T-bone on a literal fraction of health. It's only a matter of time before he gets traded on out, and then that would bring things into a 1 versus 5, or pardon, 1v4, but that already happens before T-bone even falls. He finds the player with case, but still, prone in the middle of bedroom. Not a good place to be in, and after Momo drones out the last player of that rook, it's going to be a simple pre-fire, and now 3 for Momo to get a round in the books for Garden City.
Well, the man, the myth, the legend himself, he decided to swoop in, get off the thermite, and, well, start fragging it out, and that is exactly what his team needs him to do at the moment. But keep in mind, you cannot rather to just carry your team every round. Yes, this was, the round that Garden could use to stop their bleeding, to maybe cauterize the wound a little bit, but they still need to keep winning, and everyone needs to contribute at least somewhat equally. You cannot rely on Momo to win you the next 4, 5, 6 rounds to win this entire series. So, it's really a question whether Garden City can manage to, with the power of friendship and all, work together as a unit and win those rounds, because otherwise it's still going to be a pretty quick map for Hocking, and, well, then by extent even series, I think.
Attackers have discovered the
Wondering what Garden City want to do in terms of some sort of roam game. Momo is, of course, not able to play the Vigil because he has been banned, so now he'll opt for the Legion pick instead, which is not a bad roamer, don't get me wrong. Honestly, would have thought he would have maybe have gone for something more like a Valkyrie, perhaps. That could have been a much better option, especially since the intel that you can gather with those black eye cameras is kind of just is so valuable. It's such a good piece of util to have. It's much harder to gather information with just those goo mines in comparison to an entire piece of camera utility. But the T5 is still a very strong gun, so it's not that big of a concern, I suppose. So long as Momo can shoot straight out on the defense, it shouldn't be that big of a concern, because that was one of the main driving factors of Garden City winning a lot of rounds in their defense, was just having Momo find kills left, right, and center.
Well, it feels like Garden City's only strategy so far, whoever's the RGL, is just, Momo go shoot, Momo go kill, Momo go win the round. And, I've said that before. It's not going to be enough. Everyone else needs to chip in as well. Chronic 06 and 3, and yes, they are in the smoke right now. Yes, they have been on, the Maverick before, so they have been filling those support roles. But nobody, 2 and 5, J Supreme 1 and 6, Dark One 1 and 5. What are those numbers? The only positive person on their team right now is Momo, and that will honestly just not fly. If your team has a combined of 10 kills in 7 rounds, I don't know, John. It's not looking very well. But we'll see. The control is being established by the attackers. They already have control of dirt. They're already walking around the map, main stairs as well. I don't think they've cleared above fully yet, but I guess they'll just play for a flank watch. So there we go. He spots the holes in the floor, or rather the ceiling right above him. No one's playing there. So, well, there's that. Thank you, Scoots. Beautiful observing as always. Well, I guess this is our first time working together, so I can't say as always, but beautiful observing so far. 80 seconds left on the clock, though.
And there we have it. There's the big boom that gets rid of Sup Kid. So the Jackal's now
boom.
gone. That man advantage is now in the favor of Garden City. No one dealing with that roam game. There is nothing here to watch it. That allows Momo to once again just kind of do his thing out on the Legion. Still having 4, almost 5 goo mines in pocket, funny enough. Not deploying any of those pieces of utility. T-Bone spots out the arm of one. That might have been Momo potentially. We can't quite confirm it. And that down has not been fully successful either. No, it was a wall bang, I think, onto Momo that actually brought him down. Thankfully, though, he'll get revived. So it's still a 5 versus 4, or 5 versus 3, sorry, favoring Garden City, as they have a multi-prong approach, but they just don't have the man advantage to really back up the fact that they want to get control of both triple wall leading into church and also dirt tunnel, which is honestly just 2 separate funnels in and of itself. Momo watching very patiently in through that back area of the main door now forces basically just a singular funnel by Hocking, as they really don't have a lot done in this 7th round with only 20 seconds left to spare.
Well, it looks like Garden City may actually be on their way to secure another round one. We'll just find one though, but they still have their work cut out for him. That's a triple from Momo, and he is he is still alive. He could get a fourth one. Nope, it's gonna be Jay Supreme finishing the round off for Garden City. But well, at least they got another round on the board. It's a 5v2. While still hardly winnable, it's, their chances are becoming fatter and fatter. It's not only a singular light at the end of the tunnel, it's, I guess, feasible to some extent at least. Round 8. And well, if Garden City can win this one, I think they can at least force overtime. If Hocking get match point now, if they can get their 6th round, I think it's all over for them, and we'll be seeing who actually wins the series out on Villa.
Interesting selection here by Momo to go for the pulse, actually. One big thing is with the lineup of the offense, I feel like that kind of wants them to just only get control of maybe like just plat wall, maybe go for Raptors well with the Blackbeard. So that could maybe allow for Momo to find some sort of cheeky Nitro Cell play underneath, gathering that information perhaps. That is depending on where exactly Momo wants to play, and maybe if Hocking want to prove me wrong and they go for a genuine clear on that bottom floor. Also having the castle in the hands of Buddy, that could maybe allow for a bottom floor extension to happen in the middle of lobby to help enable Momo to kind of do his job once again of gathering that information and maybe finding a pick with that Nitro Cell stop a plant. But, we don't have anything fully written down in paper just yet for Garden City, so I guess I'll have to wait and hold my tongue until we have something confirmed. But a lot of options for general plant denial here by Garden City, which could be great because we have seen Hocking attempt to go for a plant numerous times when they try to waltz into sight. Normally there's just a couple pesky defenders stopping them from doing that, but they have been setting themselves up in ways where they would like to get a plant down to have that state of insurance when they move into sight.
I was gonna make a joke about how Momo has only been playing Legion for the T5 gun because, well, you have pointed it out, he just didn't deploy any of those Legion mines. He was just kind of sprinting around shooting people, and well, it did work. Legion mines definitely could have helped even further, but now he is on the pulse, and well, we know he didn't pick pulse for the gun. Heartbeat scanner coming in clutch though. He looks the right direction. He pre-fires. He swings, but he will not deal a lot of damage. And the little damage that he did deal, oh, it's already been healed by the Finka's boost. So, not a great start there, but at least he knows where the push is coming from. He also got rid of one of Blackbeard's shields, if I'm not mistaken. So, a decent start. But that will not be enough. He wasted a minute already. Can he keep it up?
Well, potentially. Still gathering plenty of information. A simple nade. That's all they would need to get rid of this guy. But no, he'll just leave on his own accord. Probably the better option. He already overstayed his welcome tenfold, but still, a minute 20 burned off. That is not bad at all, and you're still alive to tell that whole tale to your teammates of, hey guys, I just baited out blue window for like a minute 20. I can't wait to tell you guys how that went when he comes back to site or just plays in lobby as well, because no one has cleared him out just yet. Well, finally though, as I speak of the devil, Subkid actually catches him. Maybe going on a run out? Yeah, he tried running out. I do not know why. That's such a risky play when you have so much value left to gather that information. Sully catches one off guard as well. Buddy's going to fall, but thankfully, the Dark One in the middle of CCTV will manage to light up a singular player. Subkid finds their second on the Blackbeard, and the Dark One has to get aggressive. So they need to work a pick, and they'll end up finding it. 2 versus 3 now, but Garden City's still in the back burner.
Oh no, the pre-fire's coming out from the Malusi. Finds just a little bit of damage there, but doesn't connect. The plant goes down. Jane Supreme has to push out. No more C4 in pocket. Already been used. That would have been huge, but sadly, it's not there. So many angles to check. He does find the Finka. He does know there's another one. Thurm, are you looking the wrong way? What are you doing? Maverick there finally clutches it up for the attackers, but that was so way too close for comfort, fellow. I don't know, man. We are on match point. Hocking rather, excuse me, finally got there, but well, maybe they are hacking, who knows, I don't know, they kind of went nuclear this game, maybe they're hacking.
Check Moss, perhaps?
I don't even know if we're running Moss, honestly, but I was gonna say, Momo died, it was a 5v4, and well, the rest of his team had 6 kills combined when he died, so I was like, Hocking's probably winning this, and it was way closer than it should have been, yes, but it's still match point for them. They only need one more, and then they're forcing the decider of Villa. And like I said, I think whoever won last round wins the entire map. I stand by that. I think Hocking win this one, and if not this, then definitely next round. I don't think they let Garden City get more than 3 rounds off of them on Clubhouse.
Well, very odd to not have any communication there. The Thermite had no idea Kaid was so close. He just tried running out back into Plat balcony. He just got shot in the back. That was a very, very hard round to swallow. But, you know, we'll see a reattempt here by Garden City to go back to CCTV. Maybe Momo will learn when he needs to fall back and when he needs to get aggressive, perhaps, because trying to run out against the Blackbeard, the first peak didn't work out. The second one probably is not going to either. An interesting gun selection here by Buddy as well. The M870.
Oh, no.
You do not see this one every day. But when you do see it, it either goes big or it has no impact. There is no in between, ever.
The fact that that ADS will get blown up by the breach if it's open there is not very comforting to me on the casual. I think it got placed on the wall. Am I tripping? I don't know. We were trying to demonstrate. No, it didn't. Okay, it looked like it did. It didn't. But I still think it gets destroyed. It's looking over the edge. The smoke's being deployed very early. I think it's like, hey, smoke's clipping this game. Maybe we can get a lot of damage done on the Maverick. He's been such a huge problem for us. But I honestly don't think that's going to end up working out. Aiming with the pistol? I know you're bringing the shotgun, but what does the pistol help you there in the breach? You're going to shoot the grenade meter? I'm not sure. There we go. Shotgun in hand. Watching towards the window that's just been opened. Probably the better plan there. Blackbeard being brought out once again, I think, is a very interesting pick. But, well, it's been working out for the attackers, so who am I to tell them no? 1 minute used, and Ron was playing the exact same position. No one pushed it just yet. But, well, if Hocking have more than 5-second memory, if they're better than a Goldfish, they should remember where he was last round, and they should stop him out pretty early on.
Well, no one falling just yet. We've got a ton of information being gathered here by Hocking. I feel like they want to try to seal the deal here on round number 9. Just a matter of if they're able to gather that control in order to actually find these picks, because they still don't have plat wall opened up. They are just kind of proxying around the outside parts of the building, hoping that someone may or may not overextend into them. The Dark One actually almost does that. They lose a lot of their health, but thankfully will actually survive that first initial set of shots. And they almost kill Subkid, matter of fact, as well. But thankfully, he'll actually live that previous engagement too. So still, 60 seconds left on the clock, and everyone is still alive and relatively well, as Garden City, they are still able to hold down the fort in a decent manner and are kind of forcing a relative funnel here for Hocking in these last couple moments of the round. Oh, and I think Boxy just had the worst time to go lag detected, so I will just continue here. We have Hocking still just demolishing so far. We've got the Thermite actually outside still, not able to help all that much, but thankfully Sully Slime is able to pick up the slack where needed, leaving just Momo left alive, already having their Nitro Cell expended. They'll have to get aggressive in the middle of red. Finds one, but can't get a second. Looks like I've been wrong, Matt. We're going to a third map of Villa, as Hocking will take the selection here of Garden City 7-2, which it might not be their selection actually. It might have just been the side of Garden City that ended up getting to pick what side they were on, because it was their opponent's map pick. We might have actually misread that, which makes sense why we had Hocking do so well on Clubhouse, because it was their map pick.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just the plot armor. I still haven't decided who the main characters are and who their opponents are in this matchup. But the one thing that I kind of wanted to point out, especially in all these cash defenses, and I just never got around to it, is it's so frustrating. There was no garage play whatsoever. We've had the Legion on, I think, from Hocking when they were on defense, kind of round 1, they got 3 kills there, but that was it. Every single time after that, we have seen Rafters and when you've seen cash play, no one was playing that. There was barely any utility there, and if anyone was there, especially from GCCC, that's a triple C, wow, that's hard to pronounce, they've only had people play on that window on the Rafters. No one was actually deep in Rafters, denying the walk-in from inside or even the outside doors. Everyone was just kind of playing there to fall off, and I don't know if that's how you're supposed to play the game. Garage is so extremely important, and defenders weren't defending it, but then again, on the flip side, attackers weren't capitalizing on that either. We will see if the teams need a break. Let's see. And, well, if we do, we'll go on a break. Not confirmed yet. I'm misreading Discord.
Well, I think we'll definitely prefer to maybe have the break, or maybe not. Yeah, we'll wait on confirmation, but yeah, we'll go into a quick little break and be back for Villa as quickly as possible, because they're a little behind schedule, but that's common in the R6 scene. So we'll be back in just a little while. Don't go anywhere.
Well, welcome back, everybody. It's me and Fellow. Once again, we're here to stay as we are about to go to the third decider map of Villa with, Hocking College and Garden City playing and, well, dubbing it out against one another. We've seen one win, yeah, from either side coming out. First, it was GCC winning, I think it was their own map pick of Oregon. Then Hocking answered with one of their own on Clubhouse, and the words are just escaping me right now. Fella, help me out here.
Well, it happens. It has been a bit of a longer night for you, being from EU and all that. About like 6 to 7
True.
hours, technically, like ahead of time or something. So I don't really blame you for that one. But yeah, maybe we'll see the endurance game become a bit of a challenge between both Hocking and Garden City, as the words are slipping from my mind as well. But that's okay. We can talk about the bans now. Thatcher, yeah,
Twinsies.
that's not too shocking. We have seen Hocking ban this operator every single time. So it really only makes sense that they're going to do it on the third and final map here at Villa.
With how quiet Momo has been, do you think we see another Vigil ban on defense? We've seen Garden City really stick to kind of their target bans and such, and well, I guess we've seen a target ban on each side last round, but Momo specifically got Vigil ban. He was doing really well with it on Oregon, and then he was very quiet without him on Clubhouse. So I want to see if they ban the Vigil again on Villa. I am kind of curious. It's going to be Valkbang coming out from Garden City, so let's see what Hocking have in store for us.
Well, I guess it's another target ban because Sully popped up with a 3K, and yes, we will see another ban of the Vigil because they do not want Momo going crazy. And funny enough, he didn't actually do as well on just the Legion, and also did not really do all that well on his main role, the Thermite. Maybe we'll have Momo go for more of a fragging role. Yes, I think the IQ being more of that flex / kind of secondary support or entry, depending on who else you have for your lineup. I think that'll be a much better fit for Momo, and you have somebody else play on that main breach role. Funny enough, no Maverick once again, and no nades. I do not know why Garden City just avoid bringing grenades like the plague, because they're just so in the meta right now. It doesn't make sense to not bring at the very least 2 sets of them to either destroy utility, force somebody to fall back, or maybe even find a pick to get that advantage without having to really put all that much effort into your work.
Well, we've also seen a lot of Rook today. We have also seen a lot of FMG9 smoke today. We haven't seen almost any Nomad. We haven't seen almost any drone. So I have a lot of questions regarding the picks, but both teams are working with what they have, I guess. So it's just been a matter of gunfights most of the time. Droning, practically non-existing for both teams. Utility game on defense, also pretty much non-existing. And yes, the Valkman doesn't help, but also you still
Attackers must
You also
locate
still
and defuse
have-
the bomb.
I hate it. Yeah.
You also, that's where you left off. You also still have.
Okay, thank you. I thought you were gonna say something. You also still have, you can bring the Echo, you can bring the Maestro, you can bring so much different utility for the intel, even if Elk is banned. And well, we just have been seeing that on attack, on defense, nowhere to be seen. We've seen kind of everyone taking ones, and then whoever wins the round, and then but sometime also map. But your predictions, who wins this one? Is it going to be Hocking? They've been on a hot streak ever since they started off on Clubhouse, or will Garden City bring it back?
Both my predictions have been completely wrong, so I honestly have no idea, and I'd just rather not predict. I would rather just see the game unfold and just not make a silly prediction of, oh, I think so and so is going to win because this and this, because this game has been anything but able to be guessed upon in an educated manner. Like, just coming with a prediction for this matchup is just impossible. It is like it's just threading the needle, but just 10 times more challenging than that as is. So I don't know. I do not know.
You didn't go to college. What do you know about educated guesses, man?
I mean, I guess all the time, and some people think they're good guesses, so maybe that's why they're so educated. Oh, no.
Well, fair enough. Back to the game, though. Chronic's going to get the entry onto Royal. I'm going to say it, though. Solely, by the way, refrags onto Chronic. But I'm going to say it. I do think Gordon could potentially come back swinging and win. It's very unlikely, and Hocking probably takes it. But just for the sake of it, I will bet on the underdogs. I will say Garden City somehow managed to take it out. They did get the entry, but it's solely on the double, though. Just unrelentlessly swinging any and everything, and it's working out for them so far. So, well, 1 minute left.
And Garden City still at not in the driver's seat, at the deficit, as they try to maybe have some leeway into either of the two sites. They managed to spot out one the back of Hunting, so maybe Mobo could at least hold down some sort of cutoff angle so someone can go for a plant. But they still need to kill the player that's next to the skull doorway. His back is currently turned. That could be an easy pickup kill perhaps as that player in 90 begins to try to hassle him. That finally happens, but Sully has already found 3 on the round. The Kaid having no idea where to look at though. Momo catches them off guard, but eventually gets refragged by the other player in the back of bar. It's just the Dark One, as they're not an aviator to go for a plant. They're trying to out-duel T-Bone in the back of bar. Eventually they rotate. They could now try to go for that plant, but the timer, it's still going down, and they are very close to red time. They need to up the ante, either go for that plant behind default or at least try to go work for this pick. They are kind of exposed. If T-Bone gets aggressive perhaps on this play, that might just happen. The Dark One's going to try to stick this, but he has no idea where the plant's gone down. He's looking in every which way, and he lets the Jackal escape his clutches, impacting their own barbed wire to actually help out the Dark One, as he now has a much easier way of entering. But no, T-Bone wins it. The Dark One losing such an important 1 versus 1. Hocking, they'll manage to bring back the round, as that was just such a chaotic opening on that Aviator attack.
Man, first of all, Jackal, why are you not throwing the smokes as you're planting? It would have made the Cade, or the Rook, excuse me, so much more reluctant to just push through. Well, you're lucky they didn't know where you planted, but still, why do you then throw away the smokes and give your position away like that? I have so many questions. Also, just a small tip. When you walked over to Classical, when you were on the bar doors and you melee them, and there was also Barb and that made you turn around, well, collision in this game is a little bit finicky, so when you melee, you can actually melee both the barricade and the barbarian with 1 melee. So, well, you should try doing that. It would have saved you a little bit of time. That's just a little tip, though. Going into number 2, or round number 2, excuse me, we'll be seeing statue and trophy being played. Well, it came down to the wire on round 1, but maybe Garden City can equalize this one out right now.
They could. Or they could lose in a 1v1. Guess we'll never know until we get there, maybe. It's a long road ahead of us, as we are still just in the infancy stages of map number 3.
A painful one.
Heading into, indeed, a very grueling road with lots of sharp glass. And unfortunately, our car is broken down, and we did not bring shoes or socks. We are walking in broken glass. It hurts very much. I need to see a doctor after this. Anyways, trophy and statuary. We have a Mira for this site. You don't get to see that all that often because she's normally banned. And if not dealt with properly, if we see no one play for vertical, if we don't have these mirror windows shot, or anyone trying to nade, which there are no grenades again by Garden City, shocking, I know, this could be a kind of a power position for Hocking. That, and they also have Sully on the smoke, so he can waste a lot of time stopping in Astra push leading from either Master or the back stairs. So this lineup I'm in love with by Hocking. I can't really say the same for Garden City.
Oh, I'm very glad you brought up the Mirror, because we haven't really mentioned her ever since round 1. The last time that I believe you mentioned her was when you said, oh, Mirror's going to be on the board in Oregon. And, well, she hasn't been banned on Oregon, she hasn't been banned on Clubhouse, and she isn't banned on Villa now yet. This is only the 2nd or 3rd time we're seeing her. So, I don't know why, but people are so reluctant to bring Mira. They're so used, so complacent that she's always banned. They actually don't know how to play around her. It's going to be the entry going to Hocking this time around. It's going to be Chronix on the Heartbreak. Still in play, so it's not all too fatal for Garden City, but their attack definitely hurt with such an early premature death. Momo, though, pushes up, finds the first one. Here's another one close to him, but goes for a reload at a bad time, and it's T-Bone equalizing it out, or rather, increasing his team advantage once again.
Really shocked that Momo was not opting for the LMG there. You can just hold down M1. That gun has basically no recoil. Could have maybe found 3 if that had happened. NJ, oh my god, he has the M10 on Ace.
No.
That is funny. I have not seen that in such a long time. You know, maybe he could manage to rotate Astra stairs, maybe catch somebody off guard, because this play in Master is not working out. Hey, there it is, though. There's the M10. It refrags Sully. There you go. But unfortunately, he still has to find 3, and I don't think they're going to let anybody get that close against Jay again, because now they're aware, oh, he's got a shotgun, we have to play range, and yeah, That's exactly what happens. I don't know if that's an A on the Legion's name because it's so hard to read between the A and O's, but either Vondel or Vandal is going to get that final pick of the round, and now it's 2 in a row for Hocking.
I think it's an A. I've been reading it as sorry, an A. I've been reading it as yeah, it's Vondel. There you go. You can see it now. It's a little bit zoomed in. It's definitely Vondel.
Oh, yeah.
Vandal makes a lot of sense, but it is Vondel.
Yes.
It's a Vondel. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Neat.
The more you know, it only took us 2 maps to figure this one out. Keep in mind, Vondel was not playing on Oregon, who was only subbed in on Clubhouse, and well, on round 1 they started popping off, but remained relatively silent for most of the map. They weren't doing exceptionally bad, but also they weren't really having any of those standout moments, kind of floating around the average, and that was it. No more, no less. It's going to be a kitchen defense this time around, coming out from Hocking again, the tertiary side. On Villa, it's just so common for you to first go AV and then go statue, and then if you win both of those as a defender, you kind of have to choose the lesser of 2 evils down there on the ground floor on Villa. And most lower level teams, actually old teams, kind of opt for kitchen and dining, but I guess pro teams and teams that are tier 1, tier 2 teams, they kind of embrace kitchen dining more. Lower tier teams, they kind of fear it.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
I suppose so. Every now and again, you get the good grace of having library as a site option, and it's an interesting one because some teams don't know really how to properly extend on it. Other teams know it like the back of their hand. So that does breed a little bit of variety and can be fun every now and again, but it rarely happens, unfortunately. So we're heading into kitchen dining. Still a site I like, though, so it's not that big of a concern. What might be a concern is if this rush play actually works. We've got Vondel waiting, though, at the bottom of pantry stairs. I think he got heard by some sort of audio call. Whenever you walk around any type of stairwell, it's so easy to hear you. It's such an audible cue, although we don't have any audio up here in the prod booth, unfortunately, because Rainbow Six just loves adding new bugs every single season to this game. So
Year 7.
With that, yes, this is a 7-year-old game, and there are still bugs like this happening. And oh no, I believe Vondel has walked into his own demise as Momo will cut him down from probably the basement floor as he's caught rotating, and now we've got Garden City actually in the advantage.
Yeah, and before production goes, oh, our bad, we just didn't unmute it on your end. Oh, that also happens because of human errors, but I do trust Tyler. Yeah, he's been nothing short of amazing, so we'll blame it on the game either way. He just said who you think you're working for in my ears. No, I have absolute confidence in your ability. I love your producing. Also, once again, shout out to Cool Scoots for observing for us today. Max isn't here, but well, he sends his regards and he's doing his Vertal without us today. But it is what it is. We are in a 4v4 and just past the halfway mark of the round. T-Bone playing there behind the cupboards, pretty low on HP. 1 bullet will probably down him, if not straight out kill him, depending on the gun. Obviously, Sully, though, pushes down the stairs, finds one. Can he make it? 2 yellow pings coming out, chips a little bit of damage away, and that's a third one. Momo with a double of his own. It's still a 3v3, but keep in mind, Dark One's so extremely low on HP from those Jaeger shots. Momo inside now, but not for long. Sully denies that fully. Jay gets downed as well. Triple for him, but he gets shot down by Dark One. Royal, though, he's there to finally cauterize the wound, stop the bleeding, and, well, win the round for the defenders. Once again.
Man, I do not know the arc here for between Hocking and Garden City, but map 1 and now moving into after map 2 and now 3, it's just such a night and day comparison. Hocking really just getting a good read that Garden City, their main driving factor was how well Momo could perform in terms of finding picks, and now they've been able to kind of silence him most of these rounds. It's been very favored towards Hocking, shockingly enough. But, can't complain all that much, especially if you're a fan of Hocking. So you've got that going for you at least. And now they'll try to reattempt Aviator, with being the main problem for Garden City is that they didn't have a lot of nades. They didn't have a lot of genuine understanding of what they needed to get done. And I think this time around that will actually change. They still have hard destruction. They've got a fuse once again, which not too sure how effective that's going to be to clear out this site, especially with mute jammers being on the board. But, maybe I could be proven wrong. I don't think I will be, though, to be honest, Boxy, but maybe.
We've seen wilder things. I'm going back off of my memory here, by the way, but I think Oregon went like this. So it was 2-0 for Hocking, then it was 3-1 for Hocking. The split ended in 3-3. Then Hocking again took the lead. It was 5-3 for them, and then they ended up losing it 7-5 to Garden City. Then round 2, or game 2, map 2, completely different clubhouse. It was a 5-0, if I'm not mistaken, for Hocking, and well, I'd hoped we'd see an Oregon repeat where it's, a 3-3 split, but this is shaping up to be a repeat of Clubhouse instead, where it was 5-0 and then 5-1, and then I think we ended it on a 7-2, correct? 7-3?
Yeah, 7-2. It does say in the upper portion. There's very
keep
small
assuming
text out.
you keep assuming I know how to read, fellow. You may not have gone to college.
I don't
but
either.
I
kind of it's like the guessing that we talked about earlier. Just not so educated because I can't read.
Flipping a coin. Well, it's gonna be Jaeger on the entry once again. This time lurking around, and Ard Wandel follows up with one of his own, and that's Momo off the board as well, the main and well, practically the only frag that Garden City has to offer at the moment. Again, he has more kills than the rest of his team combined, and that won't even end up mattering. Again, it's just all up to the Ace for Hard Breach. It's all up to the Jaeger and the Fuse to get the frags they need throughout the round. Only 70 seconds into the round, and Garden City has, suffered such great casualties already. I am not very optimistic about round 4 and then future rounds either for them.
Yeah, especially since that this roam clear in general has not been all that good. Jackal, although gathering intel, has not been all that helpful for his team. Maybe a Lion could potentially alleviate some of that pressure, as he's much easier to utilize for really any teammate, especially against the Mute Jammers. But T-Bone gets rid of the Dark One, and the Fuse is so low, I don't even think he knows Sully's this close to the top of Red. Now P has no clue what just hit him, leaving just Jay Supreme, the lone ace, not having the M10 in the 1vx, and no longer having a living soul, as Hocking is going to take that as well. 4-0 for the defensive side. They are just not letting their foot down off this gas pedal.
Okay, well, welcome back to Siege School. Fellow, how do we deal with roamers in this game?
You drone. You drone.
You drone? Okay, what else?
I don't know, you have like a multi approach. You don't just all push him from the same area. You play for that refrag game.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you know there's a roamer, if you know at least their approximate position, you have two choices. You can either hunt them down with your team, you can, at worst, get a 1-for-1 trade. That is what you should be striving for. If you can kill them without actually losing anyone, all the better. But at least trade 1-for-1. That is what you need to do at the least. That's your baseline. Or instead of hunting down the roamer, what you can also do is you can instead start pressuring the side, and that is what you do, especially if you know there's multiple people roaming offside. But if you pressure the side, which is what Garden City seem to be doing either way on their attacks, is you need to make sure your flanks are secured with rounds, with nomads, with gridlocks, with sandfishers, with cameras, with actual people watching them. You have so many different ways to secure a flank, but you need to do it. And if you're going to push a side, if you're going to put pressure onto a side, there's roamers running around, then you don't even need to know. You can just assume. Because when have you last seen Villa with 5 people on the bomb site? Probably never, right?
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
I have seen it once, actually, and I'd rather not talk about it, but only once. So
was it collegiate? It was collegiate R6. Right, it was collegiate play. Not CR6 in general, but collegiate.
It was not CR6, I will say that, but I would rather not disclose where I saw it. Anyways,
PTSD
Hocking looking to maybe take another one here for their troubles, as once again, I mean, they're doing a good job on their defensive side. They're not letting this roam clear be successful in any way, shape, or form, despite the fact we still have something attempted to be brought out to help clear out that roam game, and there is still a semblance of a drone established, but just not enough. I feel like just the right tools are here, but they're not in the right places to be utilized. It's like you're a mechanic and you're being given like a woodworker's tools. Like, yeah, these are nice and all, but I'm trying to work on a car, not cut down a tree. So it's just not been the best position here for Garden City at all. It's been a minute burned off the timer, and we still have Sully just walking around scot-free. I cannot believe that.
I now have an image of you in my head of like you trying to hammer a nail down with a wrench. I don't know why, but it's stuck in my head. Anyway, Sully's going to be the one to fall on entry this time around. And well, that is actually a massive opening there for Garden City. And they should hold on to it with their dear life. They have the early on advantage, and well, they make it a double, or Bundle is down at least. He will get one, but still, that's quote unquote the advantage for them. There we go. Jay Supreme gets one, but then another refrag coming out immediately, and Mira coming in clutch. Roll's just gonna swing. Ash not aware. Oh, she falls again. What are you doing? Garden City, how are you just getting traded out immediately and then still solo pushing and dying like you have no intel where anyone is? Nobody though. He finds one and another refrag. Fella, what is happening?
Oh, they have not known about T-Bone's position this entire round.
Help!
It's only Chronic Swifty. He could maybe, just maybe, isolate here because both
Melee the
defenders are
Mira.
off-site. But they're holding a very long kind of crossfire. Believe we've got Chronic maybe opting to try to go through the rotate hole potentially, still having plenty of time to think about their actions. They could drone, but no, they'll walk in blindly, unfortunately, right into the unloving arms of
Melee.
T-Bone. Some damage being done, and yeah, I'm really shocked this mirror window has not been destroyed out here by the thermite. It won't matter as T-Bone will now fall. 1 versus 1 situation. Chronic Swifty has somewhat of an idea as to where Supkid could be playing at, but isn't pre-fire the correct corner. And now we'll have Supkid just playing on the prone. If Chronic tries to go for a plant, a Nitro Cell could most definitely be tossed across bomb sites, and this could potentially happen. The Mira might be able to go for that C4 toss. Please, love of God, utilize that utility. They finally toss it, and it does detonate right on the feet of Chronic. And there we have it. Hocking take yet another in a row as, well, we had the hook, line, and sinker done perfectly by Supkid.
You know what this whole match reminds me of? And this is going to sound a little mean, but I'm going to say it anyways. This reminds me of watching 10 players who used to play the game in year 1, year 2, year 3 come back to the game unaware of all the changes that had happened in, the past year or 2. They're just not mailing the Miras. We've had at least 2, if not 3 attackers come up Astro or Bathroom or somewhere on that side, and they all just breakdanced in front of that Mira. No one decided to punch it once. That's all you need. You need to just melee that Mira, and your intel, the intel that you're giving your opponents on you, will be limited to only sound. We all know how finicky sound is Rainbow Six Siege, so if you take away the visual, you have done so much for yourself. But some way, somehow, Garden City are not reacting, and we are seeing an exact repeat of Clubhouse, where again, 5-0 up Hocking. This is where, at least last time around, Garden City, well, they switched Momo from Hard Breach onto a fragger, and he started fragging it out, won at least a few rounds. Wasn't enough, but still it was something. This time around, Momo hasn't been on Hard Breach since round 1, and yet he's still, yes, the only positive person, going 1 in KD currently, but still hasn't been enough. Chronic, 2-5, Jay Supreme, 3-5, Dark One, 2-5, Nobody, 1-5. I don't know what we're seeing, fellow. So many questions.
I don't think many of them will be answered today, so I guess we'll have to save them for next week's episode. But before we get to there, of course, we still to finish out this last map, which Hocking are trying to get that done as quickly as possible. They are trying to speed run through map number 3 of Villa, not trying to lose a singular round or anything that would cost them extra frames being lost. We have the intel trying to be gathered once again for Garden City, and unfortunately, they lose Chronic. They've always been bringing double Hard Breach though, so they still have the ace, so it's not that big of a problem. It's just one less gun to play with, which for Garden City is kind of a bad thing because they've been harping really playing into the fact that they need to outduel their opponents and just go for those head-to-heads, and they just keep losing them time after time. So it's not a good sign. This is still being a continual problem.
If Hocking win this 7-0, do we classify that as a speedrun any percent or as a speedrun 100%?
That's a good question. We did go to all 3 maps, so maybe a 100% playthrough. Maybe
a 100% because, well, looking at Garden City on Villa, they're speedrunning at any percent, and well, the percentage I can tell you, fellow, it's just not very high. Sledge refries a little bit, gets taken down by Sully, double frame on the round. Make that a triple instead, just running around. Momo was the menace of Oregon, but it's Sully and company on this one. He's just running around uncontested. No one can stop him. He's lost just a little bit of HP. Won't even end up mattering. His job is done. He got his frags, and again, it's a 2v5. We're just 1 round off of match point. Only a singular attacker left alive. I think that's 0 though. Well, I don't know, John. I'm losing my sanity here.
You know, at least we can say the speedrun is definitely glitchless, so that's at least nice. But besides that, Garden City needs to win a whopping 6 rounds in a row, and that just guarantees overtime. That doesn't even give them a win or a draw. We don't have ties in here. They have to go play after that 12-round regulation if we get there, of course. So Garden City, they are going to need to do a full 180-degree turn in order to actually at least get overtime, and then maybe consider winning out this matchup. But we haven't seen overtime at all throughout this entire best of 3. I don't think in a 6-0 lead favoring Hocking, I don't think we're going to have that happen now, unless, of course, I just cursed Hocking. But, I'd really like to think I didn't just do that.
Well, I don't know. Like you said, your predictions haven't been the best today, and I'm not faulting you. It happens to everyone, especially when watching collegiate players play. They are extremely unpredictable, and, well, that's not always a bad thing, but at the same time, we often make ourselves look like fools because we call something, and then instantly, with a snap of a finger, the other thing happens. We'll see, though. I think this is a clear and cut win for Hocking. Like I said, Garden City, they had the potential, but, well, potential is all that they had, at least on Villa.
5 seconds left.
That was a pretty similar story. Just a matter of question is, will this be a flawless 7-0 coming out from Hocking, or will Garden City be able to at least secure a round and, well, at least a little bit of their pride along with it?
For Hocking, looks like they'll opt for a 5-man push leading into study room. Normally you'd want to have more of like a master-based approach. That way you can help clear out 90 faster, but if you get somebody to rotate on that 90 window, it's not that big of a problem, especially if no one's actually playing 90, which I think right now is the case until maybe Garden City understands, oh, they're all pushing from study, let's have somebody play 90. And yeah, that is correct, but maybe Chronic can fall back and play in that power position. So far, though, for Hocking, they are still droning, doing their due diligence, and now it's actually Momo to play in the middle of 90 corner to better counteract anyone pushing from Classical Hall. And maybe if they get extra aggressive, they can actually shut down somebody moving in through main stairs if that becomes a point of contention for the offense. But so far, that's not going to be truthful.
Well, we'll definitely see what ends up happening. 1 minute already burned off the clock. Not much control established by the attackers. They're all reluctant to push in, just kind of flaunting around on the balcony outside. A few drones were coming in, but that intel is old now. No one's actually entered and capitalized off of it. There we go, another drone. And, well, Sully's actually going to be getting the entry onto Dark 1. Sully and Royal both at 50 HP. Think that was going to help with that. A team kill coming out. Well, we have equalized the score count at least, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is the only kill that Garden City, get throughout this whole round.
Well, Momo going to break the drone with the impact grenade, shuts down T-Bone. Better than nothing, I suppose. T-Bone gets rid of Chronic. Swifty, though, from I believe Skull Doorway. They could honestly just kind of ignore Momo if they have someone just kind of proxying around there, just kind of waiting patiently for him to re-swing, and it wouldn't be that big of a concern. Sup Kid near Skull will try to have ends meet. Momo just swings once again, gets rid of Royal, and now it is only the Twitch left to stand. And they've got to go in this 1 versus 3 with a very difficult task ahead of them. It looks like we'll see Garden City at least maybe take 1 round here on the board for their defensive side. But there is a chance here for Sup Kid. They have a drone that they probably will not use, and then they might be able to isolate in the 1v1 situation every single time, perhaps. They do enter the site almost for free. They might need to deal with the Dachanka Shamika launchers here, perhaps. Nope, he's just looking the wrong way. Cannot hear Sup Kid just entering the site. Tries to go for a flick, but is aiming at the drinks behind the Kaid, and not the Kaid himself. Giving the first round here for Garden City after 6 rounds in a row as nothing but L's.
Well, speaking of, firing at the drinks, I may need to shoot a shot after this as well, because this is, well, traumatic to say the least. But Garden City at least won 1, so they will not be going home on a 7-0 loss on the decider of Villa, so I guess they have that going on for them. But, well, people are uneasy. They want Valorant to start, and I honestly think this is going to be a 7-1. I don't think Garden City have more than 1 round in them, and they've achieved that 1 round. I don't know. It's been an interesting game, to say the least.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
Would have to agree. Maybe if we didn't have that team kill happen, that could have been a different round for Hocking. Also, if someone just rotated, if they waited for their player to push
Attackers have
90 and
located a
then
bomb.
kill Momo, like he was in such a vulnerable position, but everyone just kept funneling the Legion from Study, and I do not know why. I don't know why they didn't have anybody rotate. They had so much time left in that round to do it, but they just refused. They were so stubborn. I think that's like the word of the day here today, Boxy, has got to be just stubborn. Teams
10
just
seconds left.
refusing to change or change enough to have an impact. That has been like
5 seconds remaining.
the motive for a lot of teams. It just sucks because in a game like R6, adaptation is kind of a necessity, and then you see teams refuse to do it, and it only makes sense why they lose so heavily on a couple of matches.
Yeah, well, like you said, adaptation is king, and we've seen very little of it so far. But maybe, no, Garden City. Well, there's no winning them, or there's no winning for them, rather. But I don't know. Maybe they can still rack up a round or two. I said I don't believe so, and they probably won't. But Caster's Curse is a thing. We've proven that multiple times today. So at the end of the day, what do we know? Just let them play the game, and maybe, just maybe, they will surprise us. You've seen a C4 fly out, not connect, not even do a little bit of damage there. Nate's coming out in return, but I don't think they will.
Well, the lag detected strikes again. The
Oh, and
dark
I hate
night
it
of this situation. Yeah,
Ah.
we know. And
Well.
looks like Hocking once again are not going to really go for a multi-prong approach, but Sully just enters the site. Has the LMG at hand. It's plenty of damage to be done here. Looks for their second on the round, but they are just dancing against Buddy. He'll finally win that altercation. 5 versus 3. With Garden City once again on that back burner, and now Hocking, they're just taking their sweet time. They're allowing this wall to be opened up, allowing a finger boost to heal up some of their weakened players, and now they once again have this spearhead of that LMGE create so much space, and apparently this information has not been relayed. Chronic, turn around. There's an LMG staring you down. It only makes sense why you fell so easily, and as Royal steps up in the middle of the site, it's going to be the game over with only a singular round being taken away from the pocket of Hocking on this map as they win almost perfectly. What a fine speedrun that best of 3.
Well, one is better than none, I guess, or maybe not even. Who can tell at this point? But this is it from us, fellow. It was, well, a close Oregon and then not such close Villa and Clubhouse, not in that order. So this is it. Hocking will take it home. We've mentioned that before. Both teams on the standings in their group, they were 3-1, but now Hocking will pull through, and I think at least for this week they cemented themselves as the second seed, so they could potentially qualify for a playoff if they keep it up. We have 8 play days with one team getting a bye in each of them, and well, the standings are slowly but surely becoming final. Do you think we'll see them in playoffs?
Honestly, that could be the case. That is a pretty good chance that it happens. But, before we, start the debacle playoffs and all that, I think we do still have an interview in the works to be done. So we'll take a quick little break, get that player set up for an interview, and then be back to see what it was like for Hocking to actually come back from a 1-0 deficit to bring it all the way to a third and final lap and end up winning it.
And, well, fellow, we're back for the post-match interview, and what a match it was, right?
Have to say so.
Yeah. We have T-Bone joining us here from the Hocking College. So, what's up, T-Bone? How you doing?
I'm actually Sully, but
Oh, you're Sully? Okay, you're just on his Discord?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm using his Discord.
Okay, thank you.
Doing
Well,
good.
congrats on the win, first and foremost.
All right, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just quickly going to go through questions. We're going to keep it short and sweet because the Valorant fanboys are waiting and they're ushering us off camera. They've been nudging at us for quite a while. So I want to talk about Oregon. You guys, you were so dominant throughout Oregon. You always had the advantage. It was a 2-0, 3-1, okay, then 3-3 at the half, but then 5-3 again. What happened in the end? How did you let it slip?
So basically, at the end on our offense, we couldn't really shut down their roam game, and we never picked the operators to shut down their own game. At the end, we went with the Nomad and the Jacko, but we just did it too late, and by that point, their vigil already tore us apart.
Okay, John?
Yeah, I was going to actually talk about the roam game as well. We saw you guys actually target ban the Vigil, both map 2 and 3. Was that one of the main reasons because you guys understood how strong the roam game was by Garden City and you just didn't want to deal with it as potently if there were a Vigil on the board?
Yeah, actually, we banned it on Clubhouse because they banned Capcans. They were like, okay, we'll ban Vigil, I guess. Just to, get back at them a little bit. But actually on Villa, we did specifically want to ban the Vigil because that's more of a roam heavy map, and Vigil's really strong on that map, more so than Clubhouse.
Yeah, fair enough. I
Okay.
mean, there were a lot of moments where the roam game wasn't really as strong. There were like a couple of times where the roam game was still good, but definitely not as strong with not having the Vigil on the board. So I guess the target ban did work. But like we mentioned, since we are very short on time, we unfortunately cannot ask that many more questions, Sully. But if there's anyone you want to shout out before we part ways, now would be the time to do so because the spotlight is yours, my friend.
Well, my team, everybody on my team, Vondell coming in and subbing in. Um, and just the school, Hocking College. We stream on Twitch all our games for other games. So yeah, just come check us out when you guys get the chance. We pretty much stream a game every single day. So yeah.
All right, well, it was a pleasure
Well, yeah.
interviewing you, Sully. Hope to do it again very, very soon. You go have a good rest of your day, my man.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, not a problem. Well, all that being said, Boxy, that is it for us here with the R16 of NJCAA powered by Esports U. But we do have Valorant helped out by ECAC with the nice casters of Catnator and also Los, two people who I don't know Catnator personally. I almost did get to meet him once, but I do know Los very well, so I'm sure it'll be a very fun duo to get to watch in action. Also, big shout out to, I believe we'll go and talk back about the observer, of Scoots. Yeah, not used to having no Max up here, so it did take me a second to go refresh his name, but he did a fantastic job, which is also why I didn't realize it wasn't Max, because Max is a goated observer. And then also Kyler, K-Tad, the man, he's always here in prod, so always nice to have him up here as well. But that does conclude it here for us. Hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and to see you all again very, very soon for more action here at NJCAA.